Shout out to everybody. Thanks for checking back in. You know what I mean? It is what it is. We seen yesterday Sarah Palin getting I think she got into it with Mehdi Hassan. That was kind of interesting, you know. They were trying to call her a racist and doing anything and everything that they could to try to discredit her simply because she is a Donald Trump supporter. You know what I mean? Shout out to Pierce Morgan. That was a very, very good video with the debate that you had. You know, shout out to you. But let's see what's going on. It says CNN bans conservative from network after he goes off on raging liberal for calling Trump Hitler. Let's listen to this.
Hey, I'm sure everyone has seen what happened on the show tonight. I just wanted to address one quick thing. As you may have seen, Ryan was...
Another thing before I get started, y'all see what's happening, like all the news that's breaking in the hip-hop world. They are trying their best to distract everybody with like hip-hop artists right now. They're trying it with the Lil Durk, like the news media being distracted with Lil Durk. Now they got 6ix9ine has just been arrested by the federal government. They're trying anything and everything to get everybody that's involved, you know, in entertainment to talk about these hip-hop artists. There is big money to talk about hip-hop artists right now, and that's why you're starting to see some people kind of veering away from talking about political issues now and talking about hip-hop because of the money difference. It is a major money difference, you know what I'm saying? But you know, people asking me to talk about it, but I want to talk about this right now. But let's go ahead and listen to this. Shout out to the chat. We got Jamaica in here. So we going, fam. What's up, y'all?
Asked to leave the show, and we have put out a statement saying that he's not welcome back on our air. There is a line here on this program, and it was crossed. But I want to be clear as well that we did not ask Mehdi to not come back. In fact, we really wanted him to come back and finish the show. We had a lot to talk to him about. And we really hope that he'll join us again soon. But for those of you who are wondering why he did not come back, I just want to be super clear that that was not in any way because we didn't want him back at all. And I won't speak for him, but I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that that was not what happened there.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about probably one of the most explosive CNN panels that I've ever seen in my life that took place on
Bobby Chin says 7 more days. Like, everybody got to get focused. Everybody's got to get focused. And you know what I mean? If you were able to vote early, hopefully you guys did that. But everybody's got to get focused.
Phillips's show. Now, we've covered this show a whole lot before in the past because they have panel discussions and debates, and I've been highly critical of this show primarily because of the so-called moderator, Abby Phillip.
Let me show you guys what's going on with this corruption swing that's going on. I'll take you to my Twitter real quick. So it says right here, this is third world corruption. Swing state Georgia. Democrats are suing to prevent Dropbox surveillance. Can anyone please give one logical explanation as to why Democrats would be suing in a swing state to prevent Dropbox surveillance? Let's listen to this real quick.
Today in Georgia, a judge ruled that election officials have to certify results, even if voter fraud is suspected. And around the state, Democrats are suing to prevent Dropbox surveillance, hand counting ballots, and voter ID protections. Why are Democrats trying to make elections less secure? Especially while many...
Yeah, and then they want to claim, like, I'm so glad, like, I woke up, man. Like, I used to, like, believe what these people were saying. Like, why would you not want voter ID? Why would you not want cameras around to watch the, like, surveillance boxes? Like, look at this, bro. Why would you not? Like, look at that. That's crazy. This is why they don't want surveillance where the drop boxes are. Look at all those ballots. Share the video. Like the video if y'all can. Like, look, they do not. This is crazy, bro.
Many states across the country are finding thousands of people who aren't citizens on the voter rolls, like in Virginia. where Governor Youngkin removed more than 6,000 non-citizens from the rolls.
Salute to
The Biden-Harris administration didn't like that. The Justice Department is now suing Virginia for cleaning up the voter rolls, something Virginia governors have been doing for years.
Why is it that anyone could argue that a process that removes non-citizens off of our voter rolls is anything else other than common sense and constitutional? This is a law that's been on our books since 2006. It was a law that was signed by then Democrat Governor Tim Kaine. This is why I find this to be a very, very unreal moment that is stunning, that they filed this suit 25 days before a presidential election, when in fact this has been going on in accordance with our Constitution, the federal Constitution, and state law since 2006.
Isn't this crazy? Look at this. They don't want this. They don't want to prevent this. Why would they not want to prevent that? Voting drop box.
It's simple. We just want free and fair elections. Democrats are trying to loosen the rules and get Republicans. Today in Georgia, a judge ruled.
I can't believe that, bro. Let's see what Elon Musk is talking about before we get to everything else. Hold on. He posted something. I don't want to sit here and just be in an advertisement for X, but it will. Hold on. He posted something. Wikipedia editor officials deem Trump a fascist. Yeah, this is crazy. Wikipedia? New Wikipedia report. Wikipedia editor officially deemed Trump a fascist. The Donald Trump and fascism Wikipedia page was created on September 21st, 2024, the same day The Guardian published a 4,000-word essay titled Is Donald Trump a Fascist?, and which is cited as a source in the Wikipedia article. Contributions from just two editors comprised 91.2% of the Donald Trump and fascism article's content, suggesting a tightly coordinated effort to control the narrative. While the Trumpism Wikipedia page argues that Trumpism has significant authoritarian leanings, describes it as far-right, national, populist, and neo-nationalist. It relies on a source that argues exactly the opposite. One of the next major citations of the Trumpism article that claims that the movement displays significant authoritarian leaning is sourced to sociologist Richard Hannon, who was eulogized in 2021 as it like, this is crazy. Wikipedia editor official deemed Trump a fascist. If Donald Trump and fascism Wikipedia page appeared the same day as The Guardian published a 4,000-word article called Is Donald Trump a Fascist? And it's still up. Literally insane, bro. Like, thank God we got X, bro. They're trying everything they can.
And her inability to actually moderate her own show in a way that is fair and neutral. So as a result, you had this conflict happen on the network that resulted in a conservative, Ryan Gardusky, getting banned from the network after he went off on.
Piper Boy, have you seen the new political ad from Elon that came out about Kamala yesterday? Nah,
Mehdi Hassan, who was just calling Trump Hitler, basically trying to justify the left calling Trump supporters Nazis, okay? And
let's see what you're talking about. The thing about Trump, like, he uses see, look at it. This is what I'm talking about. DJ Academic's got 14,000 people watching this. They are, like, y'all don't understand. Like, they are in full distraction mode. 14,000 people right now watching this. Let's see. Donald Trump releases the most powerful election ad of his campaign.
When I first came into office, I cut taxes more than any other president
So he uses music. I can't, because I don't know if that's copyright free music. So I don't know. Probably won't be able to use that.
And Ryan Gordetsky goes off on him and says something that he probably should not have said on national television. And that resulted in him being kicked off of the show. And I want to talk about it because this reveals the hypocrisy of the left and the double standards that the left has in the media when it comes to being able to say anything at all about Trump supporters or Trump or Republicans. But as soon as you give the left a taste of their own medicine, now they want to boo-hoo, whine, and cry. They want to wave the white flag, and they want to cry victim, which is exactly what happened in this exchange.
And by the way, like Kamala Harris and Shannon Sharp barely got, it's not even at 1 million views yet. So it's nowhere close to what Donald Trump did on the Joe Rogan podcast. Like when you look at her interview views and then you look at his, like them saying the polls are close, I doubt it, bro. It's like a game that they're playing. I doubt it. There's no way. Like, this dude is way more popular.
What a weekend that it was, because we are now having to talk about...
you said black, that's Black Conservatives YouTube channel. Real name Bryden said he's completely wrong. What he said was desperate.
MSNBC, CNN, Kamala Harris and her campaign all losing it because of some comments that a comedian made at this historic Madison Square Garden Trump rally. So what we're going to do is talk about some of these stories and definitely fact check a couple of things, because you know the media likes to take anything that is coming from the Trump campaign or Trump himself and turn it into something that it is not. Let's start with the actual comments from the comedian that got a lot of backlash. Listen.
A lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. No.
They really shouldn't have had this guy on there. They shouldn't have. Like, this is not a smart... I know he, like, does roasts and everything. I don't think this dude is, like, really funny. Like, that's just my personal opinion. I know people are like, oh, well, it's just jokes. Yeah, it's just jokes. I don't think he's funny. So, I mean, he had, like, a couple of spots that was funny. But, you know, this is not the time to be, like, joking like that. They shouldn't have had that guy up there.
Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
All right, so this comedian, he has his own show called Kill Tony. That's number one. Number two, he's also part of this huge Netflix.
So he just called Puerto Rico a garbage land. Yeah, I heard that.
Hit that was the roasting of Tom Brady, where he made much more offensive jokes. If you are looking for someone to truly roast a celebrity and not hold anything back, he would probably be at the top of the list. So it only begs the question, was it a smart play to have him there at the rally, or was it a bad idea? In the bigger picture of things, it wasn't a bad idea because he had a lot of jokes that were funny. And then we know we're dealing with the opposing party, the Democratic Party, who are all about being politically correct, highly sensitive to anything that they would say is offensive. Okay, so now what we're going to do is play you some of the meltdown, and it's just endless. So I'm going to just take the best highlights that I've seen that are really deranged, and then we're going to follow up with obviously debunking the craziness. Let
me look at the chat real quick. If Trump was popular, then why did he lose the popular vote twice? He's like one of the most popular GOP candidates ever, like right now. I mean, it's purely off of his popularity. He's not doing like tons and tons of ads and paying tons and tons of celebrities like she is, and it's close. You know, so it's like more of a grassroots movement. So that kind of shows his popularity. Eve with the $5 donation said, it's weird. I can't find the Elon ad on Google, but only through other creators. It's very powerful. I found it through creator LFR family.
Start with what CNN had to say during the rally. Watch this.
It's worth noting that while we showed you that joke about the pile of garbage that comedian made, he also said something else about Latino voters that I can't play because I know a lot of you are probably at the breakfast table with your little kids, and if we played it, you'd have to shut us off because it was so incredibly crude that it's a family program and we're just not going to do it.
I didn't know that CNN was a family program. Did you? I find that to be funny because all day long they're playing Hitler and, you know, all this other
calling Trump Hitler. It's crazy.
offensive stuff. So now all of a sudden they don't want to play it. Now, really quick, if you don't think CNN is not a family program, MSNBC is definitely not one. I want you to look at the screen at the bottom and how they labeled the rally.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called
Like, Donald Trump is not a fascist. Like, Wikipedia is ridiculous for that. Like, he's not Project 2025. Like, he's not a fascist. Like, they're making things up. Like, this is literally insane, bro.
America rally. A rally where speakers voiced anti-Semitic rhetoric from a stage draped with Nazi banners.
All right. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to give you guys some facts here because I have it here on my screen and I want you guys to remember this as we go throughout this video. Who are all the presidential candidates or presidents who have held convention or events at Madison Square Garden? Let me give it to you, okay? Ronald Reagan is one. Jimmy Carter, number two. Let's see here. Donald Trump, obviously. JFK. Those are just the four that I could find. I tried searching on Google, and of course, Google manipulates what comes back in the results. It won't even want to answer my question, which is funny. But anyways, yeah, I think that's important.
Speaking of that, you know, not going in on them, bro. I got like a copyright claim, not a copyright claim, but like a video that was limited, and I said no bad words. I said nothing like salacious material, nothing. They limited it. Like under a human review. I had to talk to YouTube and like, yo, why did y'all limit this? It was like a, you know, like lefties losing it video. I'm like, why did y'all like limit that? Like it was nothing against guidelines in that video. Oh, well, it looks like a human did it. Yeah, so they don't have any notes on it. I'm like, well, they don't have any notes on it and they limited my video. Like, why would they do that? Like, can you explain that? And they're like, well, we don't have any notes, but we'll give you another link to have a different human like review it. Like, you know, if they do stuff like he said, like if they do stuff like that, like it's gonna have a lot of creators, you know, just be like, nah, I'm not messing with politics anymore, and then it gets more controlled, you know. So my eyes are wide open to this. Like, but if I do like a Kamala Harris like video, oh, she needs to be president and all, like it's good, that video is gonna go crazy. Like, so it's pretty ridiculous. So like it's interesting what he said, like search results can be skewed depending. I'm not saying it's for sure, but it's interesting that he said that.
For all the presidential candidates or presidents who have held convention or events at Madison Square Garden. Let me give it to you, okay? Ronald Reagan is one. Jimmy Carter, number two. Let's see here. Donald Trump, obviously. JFK. Those are just the four that I could find. I tried searching on Google, and of course, Google manipulates what comes back in the results. It won't even want to answer my question, which is funny. But anyways, yeah, I think that's important to know. Okay, so we've talked about this at length. Okay, that type of messaging is not going to win Kamala Harris the election, but don't tell MSNBC that because they're all in, right? They're going to do whatever they can to label Trump a Nazi, which again is highly offensive, not even to Trump. I'm talking about people who actually had family members who were a part of that era. But anyways, I digress. So the crying continues on MSNBC. Watch.
I think a lot of people are seeing that rally at Madison Square Garden, seeing all those people. Doesn't mean he's going to win the race. But my point is it's discouraging that so many people would gather and rally to hate speech in America. That it's discouraging and it hurts that people.
This lady be tripping me out, bro. She be tripping me out.
Who have family in Puerto Rico, who are Puerto Rican Americans, who are American citizens, are hearing hate like that. It's discouraging.
It's a joke.
All right, she looked like she was about to cry, unfortunately, because, you know, I keep saying this. If Trump wins, there will be a mental health crisis. I mean, it's very sad.
Yeah, TDS is like running rampant nowadays.
For people out there that they literally hang on every word that comes out of Trump's mouth. And by the way, that the comment that they're really all triggered over didn't even come out of Trump's mouth. So I find it funny that they're saying Trump said it. They insinuate that, but really that's not what happened. But anyways, wow, instead of focusing on why people should vote for Kamala Harris, they are so wet.
Yeah, Dennis to me. Yeah, I did a video on that. Hold on. Some people didn't see it. Like, she's basically telling women not to listen to them.
So let me take a minute.
She's ridiculous. Hold on. I mean, that's it, but it's on Kamala Harris's YouTube. I don't want to use hers to show you.
This election out to prove a point? Well, let me tell you who isn't tuning out. Many of the folks who served closest to Trump and saw the danger firsthand. His former vice president, almost half of his former cabinet members, the growing list of four-star generals and Republican governors and senators and former House members, all of whom are not publicly supporting his candidacy the second time around. Y'all hear what I said? They are saying, no, thank you. Many are.
I'm sure people who were fired or ineffective that he said something about don't want to support him. Yeah, I want to ask y'all, is this real? Is this real or is this fake? Is she really that tall?
Speaking out. His chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, for example, said, and these are his words, that Trump is fascist to the core. His Joint Chief of Staff. These folks know that.
Eve said I was brainwashed. Yeah, Allura, I think, is brainwashed. It's like, she's just like anti-Republican on here. She's brainwashed. Like, how many times do we have to read both of their like policies? Like, we've done it like multiple times, like on this channel. I think you're brainwashed. You just want to hear me just, yay, Kamala Harris, yay. Like, that's not about to happen. Sorry, it's not.
That nothing this man says or does is funny in any way. So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while
it might be edited. Like, I don't know. Like, there's no way Kamala is this short and that must be edited, bro.
Asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon.
His obvious mental decline. Like, this dude just did a 3-hour interview on a Joe Rogan podcast that had everybody engaged. And you're talking about mental decline, and you can't get Joe Biden to do a 10-minute interview. And you guys are standing behind Joe Biden. This lady has literally, she is losing it. She will do and say anything. This is sad.
A known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse. All of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all.
She doesn't even have the courage to do any interviews that's outside of the liberal media. Like, and the only reason why she did the Brett Baer interview is because she was starting to lose in the polls. And she had to do it. Like, this lady be trying to trick y'all, bro.
So, I am praying that those of us contemplating voting for Trump or not voting at all will snap out of whatever fog we are in. I am praying.
I think they're in the fog of the last 4 years of the administration that you guys had that was ineffective. Because she also said something else in this speech, right? She was just like, you know, I know you guys are upset about the slow pace of change. And a lot of people are enraged and they're sitting out this election. But if you sit out for this election, like, it could end up affecting women's safety. This is what she was saying. So she basically admitted that that their administration was slow and growth. And You had Brett Baer with the polls showing 79% of Americans feel like the country's headed in the wrong direction. And you want us to sit here and vote for the same lady like that? I'm sorry, for the same party? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely none.
That we consider the decades of sacrifice and struggle by all of our ancestors, the folks who marched and sacrificed and shed their blood for us. We have to ask ourselves, is a vote for Trump or no vote at all the way we honor their lives? And if that's the case, well, that surely doesn't sound like freedom to me.
Why did y'all get people into the position of where they do not want to vote? I seen something earlier. Somebody sent me. It says, breaking. IRS whistleblowers involved in the Hunter Biden tax case reveals IRS, DOJ, and FBI new loop laptop was real immediately. Claim prosecutors demanded they not ask questions about Joe Biden ahead of 2020 election. There were a lot of overt investigative steps that we were not allowed to take because we had an upcoming election. The prosecutors told us that they didn't want to ask about the big guy. We corroborated that the big guy was Joe Biden. Yes. There was no question ever that the big guy was referring to Joe Biden. It was for the purpose of affecting that 2020 election. Investigations are funded by ex-subscriber. All right, so let me see if there's any, I think there's music with this one though.
When you receive...
Yeah, it's a problem. I can't play it.
Top was real.
They got music on there, so I can't play that.
Because let me tell you, in any other profession or arena, Trump's criminal track record and amoral character would be embarrassing, shameful, and disqualifying. So...
It's not like shameful that a president can't walk up the steps of Air Force One. Come on, Michelle.
I hope that you will forgive me if I am worried that we will blow this opportunity to finally turn the page on the ugliness once and for all. Because believe me, if Donald Trump is president again, at some point or another, that ugliness will touch all of our lives. And it will not matter what you look like, how you worship, who you love, or how you vote. If you don't make 6 or 8 or 12 figures, if you're not famous, if you criticize or disagree with him in any way.
I mean, you guys are literally having every famous Diddycrat that you can find. I'm not talking about like regular Democrats. I'm talking about Diddycrats, the people that are suspected of being at the white party. Beyonce, Usher, Jennifer Lopez. You guys got all of these Diddycrats on your campaign. Celebrities are supposed to be trying to convince us that these are the opinions that we need to listen to. Like, so what do you like this lady, bro? Like, why are they not getting like regular people on the podium like Donald Trump does and let them speak their piece? Because I think they're afraid that people are going to be like, you know what, Kamala Harris, I got to be real with you. The last 4 years, we've seen upwards of close to 7% inflation with you guys. And we know that the inflation took a long time to come down. But when it finally came down, it's still not as low as it was when Trump was in office. Like, they don't want that conversation. They don't.
If he doesn't view you as his equal or relevant to his ambitions, I promise you, he will not think about you when he gets into the Oval Office. And that will have real consequences.
He literally thought about everybody when he was in the Oval Office. Like, his policy, like, he's saying that he wants to, if you buy a car, interest rates on cars is part of his policy. He wants to make that tax deductible. Y'all haven't come out with nothing like that. If you're taking care of your elders, he wants you to like be able to get tax breaks from that. And I think they may have piggybacked off of what he said with that. Then they plagiarized his what's her name? Kamala Harris plagiarized like one of his speeches, and then now she's talking about she wants to do no taxes on overtime and no taxes on tips after he said it. So what do you mean, like, when he gets in the Oval Office, he's not thinking about the average American? He thought a lot about the average American, like, in his campaigning. So, I don't really understand, like, what this lady is trying to say.
Consequences for all of us. If your town gets hit by a natural disaster, who do you want looking out for you? Is it Donald Trump?
And then also, like, the American dream, right? A lot of people, they want to own a house, which is very difficult now. Like, interest rates are super high. A lot of businesses that, you know, used to build like strip malls and, you know, who had like big business buildings. Like, when the pandemic hit, a lot of them, you know, they went towards, you know, the people that were leasing like business space, office space, they stopped doing that because people were working at home. So a lot of those companies start buying up like regular properties and trying to turn regular people into renters. So now, not only do you have high interest rates in real estate, you've got businesses trying to buy up houses and you're competing with that. And a lot of that became rampant under this administration. So, like, I'm trying to buy a second house, right? And every time, like, I put in an offer on the house, I'm, like, either outbid or somebody just may be offering the exact same amount of money, but it's a company that's going to give them the money right away. They don't have to make any repairs to the house. They don't have to make sure the house is livable. It's just the companies will come in and just buy it up. So if I'm a seller of a house, I'm going to be looking at, do I really want to wait 30 days for this conventional loan to clear? Or do I want to just sell this property to this business and I'm going to get my money right away? And these are some of the things that people are dealing with, like with trying to buy houses. And a lot of that is happening under this administration right now.
Who's spreading so many lies and conspiracy theories about climate change and FEMA that the workers in North Carolina trying to help folks clean up after the last hurricane were fearing for their safety.
What are you talking about, lady? We just seen Glenn Beck go down and interview one of the FEMA workers. And you guys had people down there. I'm not saying this is under your orders, but they were parking the FEMA vehicles away from visibility to where nobody can see them. And Glenn Beck is asking this lady, why is you parking this truck so far away from where the food is? Why are you parking this truck so far away from where people can see you? And it's the color scheme of the FEMA truck like blends into everything. So it's not like a red truck, you know what I'm saying? Or like a yellow truck. It's like this off scheme to where you wouldn't even know that's like a FEMA vehicle. It's like, why are you parking so far away? And she had nothing to substantiate why she did that. And mind you, like, if you just lost your house and you're trying to find out like where these FEMA people are, like you don't even know where they are. And then the lady was like, well, I can come back tomorrow. Like, just trying to, anything not to help, while she goes back to her like hotel. Meanwhile, people are like suffering still. Then y'all offering like $750 for the whole household, not individually, for the whole household that they can apply for. Then there was no internet that a lot of people didn't have any internet. Elon Musk is trying to bring internet and you guys are stopping them from bringing out Starlink. Like, I think that FEMA was a disaster. My personal opinion.
Or is it Kamala Harris, who has been meeting with local officials, comforting the families in that state and doing everything she can to get folks the help they need?
No, you are not telling the truth, lady. When that happened, Trump was the first person down there. It took her like a week to go down there. She was busy doing photo ops. Literally while that was going down in North Carolina, she was on the Steve Colbert show, kicking back, having a Miller High Life on TV. This literally happened. And this lady is trying to paint the narrative like she was on the ground running, talking to like citizens. Like, she is like, Michelle is so wrong right there.
Use our voices.
Listen to this. Now she's trying to tell women to turn against their men. Listen to what she is saying, bro.
That there are a lot of angry, disillusioned people out there upset with the slow pace of change. And I get it. It is reasonable to be frustrated. We all know we have a lot more work to do in this country. But to anyone out there thinking about sitting out this election or voting for Donald Trump or a third-party candidate in protest because you're fed up, let me warn you.
slow pace of change. You're fed up because of this administration. Why would we vote for y'all again? I voted for Trump. Thug life. I'm sorry, I did. And I was right. His presidency was lit. But why would people like vote for y'all again? If you're literally sitting up here, Michelle Obama, you're saying they are fed up. You're basically saying they are enraged to the point to where they do not want to vote.
Your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage.
How are they going to become collateral damage to the rage that's out there against your administration? People, friends. I'm curious. Let us know.
Prepared to look into the eyes of the women and children you love and tell them that you supported this assault on our safety? And to the women.
She's saying it's an assault on women's safety. How is this an assault on women's safety? Can somebody please explain this in the comments? I got subscribers only. Let me know, what is she talking about? Somebody said my mother voted for Trump too. Rachel said, if you love food, vote Trump. Richard Lester said, hey, Mike, hold on. Moving Forward said, are you sure that's yo, I can't like say any disparaging things about her or what I think about the way she looks or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to get disrespectful with this lady. I just don't agree with what she's saying.
Listening. We have every right to demand that the men in our lives do better by us.
Have every right to demand that the men in your lives do better by us. Doing better by you is voting for somebody that's gonna like give us like an opportunity to get ahead. That's what I think. Like if we got interest rates up to like 7%, I don't think it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that was a good time. I don't think that was a fun time. I think when people were looking for houses, they were extremely discouraged. Even when you got like an 800 and something credit score, you find out, oh, well, interest rates are high. Banks didn't even want to do loans at that time. Car loans was through the roof. Imagine getting a personal loan under their administration. So I think, like, yo, I'm voting for the person that's going to give us an opportunity. I'm not voting for somebody that, shout out to y'all for hitting the likes. I see somebody hitting the hearts. Double tap the screen if you can on your iOS device. Double tap the screen on your Android device. That also helps, like, put this into the algorithm. Y'all gonna understand we fighting against a lot right now. You got a lot of hip hop artists that are getting locked up that is going to be driving the algorithms on a lot of social media companies, so we got to break through that. So hit the like button if y'all can, hit the hearts, hit the emojis, hit the confetti, like the all that if y'all can. But this lady is very misleading. Said men need to do better by them for voting for a woman just because she's a woman. This lady has created so much separation. It is insane just off of her speeches. Every white person's got a silver spoon. This is what she said in the speech. I'm not making that up. We reviewed one of her speeches. She said that. She said every white person has a silver spoon and an escalator that we don't have. Some white people do have it easier in the workplace. Like they do. Some of them. But there's some places that are not like that. Some people may have jobs that they don't deserve because of affirmative action. So it depends on how you want to look at it, lady. When you go to work, a lot of times it's white people and Indian people and Chinese people that may be working alongside of you. I mean, a lot of these people wish they had escalators. She is making the Democratic Party to be a black woman party. This is what she's doing. This is what Kamala Harris is doing. We have to vote for them just because she's black and a woman. We literally watched Shannon Sharp call this lady so many different races, and she agreed. I said, Shannon and Kamala interview. No, Shannon reveals all the races that Kamala have been and the first in those races to do things. Listen to this.
Yeah, he was doing great things, but to see, Madam VP, what you've been able to do, you've had so many firsts. The first woman attorney general, African American, Asian American descent. You was the DA of San Francisco. You were the first Indian American U.S. senator.
And second black woman ever in the history of the United States Senate elected.
How many races is she the first of? Like, is she about to be the first Indian, like, if she wins, like, the first Indian president, first Asian president, first Jamaican president, first black like, what is she gonna be if she wins? Like, that's really crazy that Shannon Sharp didn't even catch that.
Yeah, he was doing great things, but to see, Madam VP, what you've been able to do, you've had so many firsts. The first woman attorney general, African American, Asian American descent. You was the DA of San Francisco. You were the first Indian American U.S. senator.
And second black woman ever in the history of the United States Senate elected.
We have to use our voices to make these choices clear to the men that we love. Our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment. And we are more than just baby-making vessels.
So men out here, do y'all think y'all women are just baby-making vessels? That's what this lady said. That's all we think about our women. Now she know what we think. We think they're just baby-making vessels. That's what this lady is saying. That is very disrespectful for her to say something like that. I would, like, if I'm a man, like, this makes me not want to vote for y'all. Baby-making vessels. This is what she's saying.
Who lives in a household of men that don't listen to you or value your opinion, just remember that your vote is a private matter.
She's literally trying to turn the woman against the man in the household. That's how desperate they are.
Regardless of the political views of your partner, you get to
hit the like button, y'all. Like, hit the, I don't see no hearts right now. If y'all can't hit the hearts. Like, this lady, this is the most separate, like, her speeches be so disparaging. Like, bro, you want to be the party to try to bring everybody together. You got to be thinking, Michelle Obama, all right, we're not doing as well as I predicted. Let's go ahead and try to make everybody be included. Then you bring out Beyonce and you know what I mean? They further separate people. Beyonce just talking about women. Lizzo talking about women. And then Lizzo said that Kamala Harris wants to make everywhere like Detroit, Michigan. Like, that's enough for me not to vote. I don't want to live in Detroit, Michigan. Much respect to y'all. Ain't no way I want to live there. Y'all see the property value over there? Job market over there? I don't want to live in Detroit, Michigan. But maybe she's right, Lizzo. She is trying to turn every place into Detroit, Michigan, because a lot of people are suffering out here. And they're so enraged by what that administration did. So maybe she does want to turn every place like Detroit, Michigan. They got a rapper named Plies that can barely speak English that's trying to rally up people to vote. And it's always the ones that don't have hit records anymore. And, you know, you got Charleston White, you got Dr. Umar Johnson, all these people are talking about, look at Plies. To 47% of the country, this type of blatant racism has been totally accepted and shame on them. But to the other 53% of the country, if they're like, when did he get political? Plies. Who will have a girl up there exploiting women, have her up there twerking. Plies. He is a super politician now. How much is he getting paid? Ha ha ha, I'm getting money. This dude hasn't had a hit in years. Now he a super politician? New day, new opportunity.
You get to use your judgment and cast your vote for yourself and the women in your life. Remember, women, standing up for what is best for us can make the difference in this election.
Standing up for what's best for us. Don't think about what's best for your man. Just think about what's best for us. That's what this lady is saying. She's literally saying this. Literally. Y'all don't see anything wrong with that? Shout out to Mafioso with the $5 donation. Kamala trying to convince us she's black just lets me know she's not. You can tell she's lying about her origins of who she really is. Yeah, Candace Owens exposed that. Like, why didn't Shannon Sharp ask her about Candace Owens' claims? I guarantee you if the roles were reversed, you know, and maybe he was interviewing Trump and some claims like that came out, I'm pretty sure there'd be some questions being asked. They acting like Candace Owens is getting 50,000 views a video. This lady's getting like 1 million views. And she's showing like pictures are, you know, intentionally being made black and white to hide like people's skin color. She's showing that a lady that Kamala Harris in her book has as her grandmother was actually allegedly the help of the house and not her grandmother. And then she finds out her grandmother passed before Kamala was even born, allegedly. This is what Candace Owens is putting out. Then she finds out Miss Barrow is actually white and Jewish. Then she finds out like Kamala Harris's family origins, you know, have strong ties to communism. I'm not saying this is what Candace Owens is finding out. She's finding out her family has plantations. Catholic Rock with the 199, 75 million votes going to Trump from the Roman Catholic. Then you got like in Michigan, like the Islamic community is coming out and stepping out and supporting Donald Trump. What was it? The Washington Post? I think it was. They don't even want to like support the Democratic Party. Was it them? They normally do. That's very interesting. You got Anderson Cooper turning against Kamala Harris. Anderson Cooper. SNL is turning against the Democratic Party. If that don't tell you something. But this lady wants us to vote for Kamala Harris just because she's a female. There are warlords out there, ma'am. Do you know who Vladimir Putin is? You think he gonna respect Kamala Harris? He's already joking around saying she should win so he can continue to do whatever he's doing. So, and then like Iran's out of control now. What they got, like $100 billion or something like that in excess of capital that they could use to build whatever they want that they didn't have before your administration. So how are y'all so she's talking about women's safety. I think everybody's safety is becoming at risk under this administration. You guys are flooding the borders with immigrants. Millions of people are coming. Why was Joe Rogan talking to Donald Trump and saying that they're being shipped to swing states? I don't know if that's true or not. That's what Joe Rogan said. Why did we see like Florida Sheriff Judd, like who just did he arrested 157 people in that Disney sting, and he's got some people like becoming informants and talking because they don't want to be in jail for the rest of their life, illegals, saying that the government gave them money. That's what Sheriff Judd said. He's saying that there's open borders and there's nothing like really stop. Why is Border Patrol coming out and supporting Donald Trump? Tell me why that's going on, Michelle Obama. And they're talking about the country's not safe. But you talk about women's safety. Why is Border Patrol coming out and saying that? Like, nobody is thinking about that. I think that's an issue. I think that's a problem. Border Patrol don't want to stand with her. Why is Robert Kennedy coming out? This is a Democrat. Listen to what he's saying. He's exposing Kamala Harris. This is a Democrat. This is a Kennedy dog.
I want to point out somebody who's in the audience tonight. She's a woman named Sherry Peebles. And Sherry, are you here? Will you stand up if I can point you out? Okay, so Sherry Peebles is an African-American woman who has a daughter, Shayna, a straight-A student. She missed 60 days of school because she was in a hospital because she had sickle cell anemia. And her mom, Sherry, filled out all the forms, the federal and the state forms, explaining why she was missing her school. She did her schoolwork every day. She got straight A's, as I said. But Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of California. And Kamala Harris learned that the state was losing $1.3 billion a year because of truancy. And she said, I want that money. So I'm going to start putting parents in jail whose children skip too much school.
Interesting. I've seen like video of a woman whose daughter was in school with in the hospital for like 30 days or something like that. And she had like reasons she got prosecuted. I find that to be like really interesting.
Oh, she arrested Sherry Peebles in her home. The police came in and handcuffed her. And when she said, why am I being handcuffed? The police said to her, talk to Kamala Harris. They didn't want to be doing it either. She lost her job. She lost her home. And she still raised an extraordinary child.
Robert Kennedy is coming out and saying that. He's been like basically saying like all of the things that he doesn't like that's going on with this, like the people that are in the Democratic Party. So they tried to go in on him in a censorship hearing. And y'all need to hit the like button because people need to see this. Like, this is ridiculous. And then they got all these Diddy-crats who are afraid of being prosecuted with Diddy sitting up here dancing. This is how it says celebrities on the Diddy list being blackmailed to perform for the DNC. Usher, is that true? And then you got like people in Chicago trying to turn Chicago red. We're going to get back to Michelle Obama's lies.
Oh, I don't know if y'all don't understand, but y'all don't see it. America is coming together, and Chicago is coming together. Black, white, it don't matter, because see, we see a common threat. And you all are a common threat to America and Chicago.
Shout out to Elizabeth.
How dare you sit up there and go on TV and say Chicago people are dope when you talking about how you handled the migrant crisis, illegal crisis, when they all in my neighborhood. Now, I can't go across the street and do a simple workout. I'm a trainer. I'm trying to educate the citizens of Chicago, help dads be in the homes, educate them about health, fitness, how it is, and to be healthy with your kids. Eat healthy, work out, do something for the community, and I got to go through all these permits, all these hoops, everything. I got insurance to go in the park. But then I see illegals down the street from my house with a whole entire restaurant.
What?
I thought I was looking at Donald Trump when he was at McDonald's. They sit up there and had generators on the street, on the sidewalk, generators, and they had a fry machine taking the basket out the oil, putting it on the side, and not only that, they had tables and booths set up, like a whole restaurant outside.
Wow.
I just sit there, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Trays, putting the french fries in, all the smoke in out here, and they serving the people with aprons on, outside. Now my taxes done went up. Now they not putting nothing into it. My husband is a retired police. He gave 28 years to this. And now you're going to sit up there and talk about we dope and we okay. No, we're not okay with that. We tried to tell you that. Sanctuary cities, we didn't want it, but you blocked that.
And not to mention, in Chicago, they got a mayor that spent $80,000 of taxpayers' funds to have an office redecorated for his wife while they're going through a budget crisis and thinking about doing layoffs. Democratic mayor. Interesting. Mayor at and you know what I mean? So they're tired of this. Have y'all been to Chicago lately? I have. I went to a Young Jeezy concert not too long ago in Chicago. The roads are not that great. I barely even seen any police when I was driving through there. Chicago's one of the most dangerous cities. Why don't they have police? They don't have the budget for it. But this guy's got a budget for $80,000 of a remodel for his wife. We reacted to a video on that. When he was asked about it, he couldn't say anything.
You all don't believe in democracy. Democracy is out the door. You all believe in dictatorship.
Facts.
But that's okay, because like I said, when Trump, we all for Trump. And we're going to, he's demolishing these sanctuary cities because that's what the American citizens want. See, he listened to the people. And that's what the people want. So you all sit up there and think it's cool, but remember, the same thing make y'all laugh is going to make y'all cry. Listen, we put you all in office to advocate for us. All these illegals in our neighborhood, and y'all just, it's funny now. Yeah, okay, displacing us, it's cool.
Illegals in their neighborhood, displacing them. Somebody said, I love Chicago. Every time I go, it gets praise.
Thank you very much for your comment.
All right.
People are having a problem with this. Chicago mayor called out to his face by furious voters for destroying their city.
Okay. Anyway, how you doing, Mayor Brandon Johnson? You all right? Okay, good. So I don't know why you pay people to come here to act like you own it for the city and for the citizens, because you're not. You're running the city to the ground. We've asked you over and over again to stop with the spending. We've told your cronies to stop with the spending. They won't stop you. They're letting you run ragged in here. They're letting you run the city through the ground. They won't stop you. So because of that, you've given us no choice. We got to go to the federal level. We got to go to Donald J. Trump. Because he's made it clear what he's going to do. See, I got to have some help.
I got to have some help. I can't let you and Cook County and the city take what my mother worked for and left for her children. Just because you feel like it, just because the Democratic Party think they are that, like they untouchables. This is America. You bringing these people over here that's from socialist countries and all this and that, and y'all think y'all gonna run that here. Black America said, no, you not. The true white Americans are saying, no, you not.
Preach.
The true Latino, the true Asians are saying, no, you not. I'm telling you, Brandon Johnson, from my heart to yours, Trump 2024. No more blue, no matter who. Donald J. Trump. Trump 2024. He gonna stop the bleeding. He gonna deal with this sanctuary city, and he gonna help us get you out, and he gonna get anybody out who roll with you, who think they're gonna tear up Chicago. Y'all getting out too. This is our city. You can sit there, think like you acting like you ain't paying attention, acting like it don't apply to you. Oh, yes, it does. You ain't untouchable either, Silverstein. We coming for anybody who ain't about Chicago.
They don't want to listen to her, but she can get people to vote in her direction. It's going to be big. Let's see what this lady's got to say.
So let us use our voices in these final days to make it plain to the men in our lives that we need to stand not with Trump, but with us. We need them to vote for the only candidate in this race who will protect our lives. We need them to vote for Kamala Harris. Kamala, she will fight to restore our reproductive freedoms and defend our health. Kamala.
What reproductive freedoms are they talking about? Can somebody tell me, is Trump standing at the bedside when you about to get it on and saying like, nah, don't do it? Like, what are you talking about reproductive freedom, man? Like, please make this clear, because she's not making no sense to me.
Will fight for our access to life-saving emergency care and maternal care in every state. Kamala will veto any abortion ban or bill that restricts access to contraception or IVF. Kamala will...
Let's listen to this, because this lady, she's been saying a lot of lies. All right. Let's see what Trump's got to say about all this. What he's got to say about all this stuff, right?
He's going to take away abortion rights.
He and his allies would limit access to birth control, ban medication abortion, and enact a nationwide abortion ban with or without Congress.
Okay, let's see what Trump has said himself. What did he say?
You wouldn't support a national ban? No, I wouldn't support a national ban. No, I would not.
He says he will not support a national ban on abortion.
So what do you mean? What am I talking about? Trump just said he would not support a national ban. Yeah, I see you in there trying to hate D-Block. What are you talking about? Trump just literally said that.
Multiple.
Shout out to Mafioso with the $2 donation. People clapping on ending babies is wild. Exactly.
Times. Let's see his stances on exceptions, because everyone's like he's going to ban it in totality. Let's see what he has to say about that.
But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important.
He literally just said it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, Thug Life. I'm voting for the felon, because they lying. When you got all this propaganda out here, CNN, left-wing media, MSNBC, all of these, Washington Post, New York Times, when you got all of this out here, you can't see the truth. Thug Life.
Said it plain and simple. For rape, incest, and life of the mother, he is also totally fine with abortion.
Look at this racist. Are you black voting for Trump? Look at the racists in there in the comment section. Think because I'm black, Democrats have to own me. That's crazy.
In that sense, he's going to take away IVF.
Taking away our freedom to control our bodies the freedom to become a mother through IVF like I did.
Okay, Michelle Obama saying that Trump wants to get rid of IVF and he doesn't like IVF. Let's see what Trump actually thinks of IVF.
For mothers and families to have babies, not harder. That includes supporting the availability of fertility treatments like IVF in every state in America.
This video, I hope you're seeing, there's more to come, but I hope you're seeing right now that there's a lot of people at play just bluntly lying in our faces and getting away with it. Like, don't tell me how to think, don't lie to me about a person, just give me the truth, give me what they're saying. And it is.
She'll sit here and lie to you. Further brainwash you.
Control and abortion pills. And she will do all of this not because she's a woman, but because she's a decent human being.
She's gonna give you those I'm starting to say pills because she's a decent human being. Like, what are you talking about, lady? And they're screaming for that.
She will do this because she cares about the lives of people other than herself. And that's really what this election is about, Michigan.
This dude said, I'm brainwashed. This dude is ridiculous. Colin Radley with the $4.99 said, guess who? If you don't vote for me, then you're not black. Hashtag Trump 2024. Thug Life, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Like, if that ain't racist, I don't know what is. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Hey, didn't Biden say he don't want his kids going to a jungle, an integrated school? Y'all don't remember that? Remember he was in favor of the policy that target black Americans, and then Trump had to sign the First Step Act to get people out of jail? Y'all don't remember that? Thug life. But you want to call Trump the racist. These people have got y'all brainwashed.
This isn't just about what we have an obligation to.
And she's up here telling you not to listen to your man.
Say no to. It's about what we have the opportunity to say yes to.
Yeah, we got the opportunity to say yes to a better, thriving economy. I cannot wait to say yes to that. I say no to that administration that just put us through, like, turmoil. I don't want no president having no that white girl in the White House. You know what I'm saying? The Coca-Cola in the White House that they found. I don't want no president doing that. Biden is wilding.
And we can elect someone who has the experience, the character, and the strength to look at all these challenges and still see a brighter day on the other side. Kamala Harris will see us, all of us. Kamala Harris will listen to us, all of us. She will protect our freedom. She'll stand up for us.
Now it's all of us, right? She just said, like, it's only the women. That was the first half of her speech. Don't listen to your man. We got to vote for us. It's all about us. That's the first half of her speech. Now she want to say it's about everybody. Which one is it? She literally laid out the Democratic Party as for black women.
For all of our lives. She will have our backs for the folks trying to get ahead and those just trying to get by. And in doing so, she will usher in a new generation of American leadership and send the ugliness of Donald Trump and his politics back where it belongs, the past.
The ugliness of his politics. You guys attack him at every turn. You're attacking him. This dude did like a 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan, and he barely said anything about that lady. Y'all can't talk about policy, so y'all consistently attack him. But you want to say Donald Trump is the attacking. Like, what is she saying, bruh? Kayla Cook said, I'm not a Republican and I'm voting for Trump. This lady has lost it. Jeff Bezos don't even want to endorse anybody right now.
Jeff Bezos doubled down on his decision to not endorse Kamala Harris through the Washington Post after 200,000 subscribers flee. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Amazon owner, Washington Post owner, many businesses owner Jeff Bezos doubling down on his decision to not endorse Kamala Harris through the Washington Post after 200,000 subscribers flee the paper. And I think these are all online subscriptions. Now, last I checked, Washington Post, that's $20 a month for subscribers online. So 200,000 times $20, you got...
That's a lot of money.
Quite a few millions of dollars. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to show you an article right here to give you the headline, a little bit of context. Over 200,000 subscribers flee Washington Post after Bezos blocks Harris endorsement. Now, let me be clear. Jeff Bezos does not want to endorse any candidate at all in the paper because he says it kind of ruins the integrity of it.
I like that. I like he's doing that now, even though they are left-leaning, but I like that he's doing that now.
Them look biased, and the people already don't trust the mainstream media. So doing things like endorsing Kamala through the Washington Post just kind of keeps that whole thing going. People don't like it. Now,
200,000 people don't like it. They're upset. You're not going to endorse Kamala. You're not going to... Like, don't y'all want, like, media to be fair? No, y'all don't. Y'all 200,000 people just want left-wing media.
On the flip side, if you don't endorse Kamala, that's a bad thing, too, to some people because you got those who have left. But the integrity of the paper is the most important thing. Okay, that is the most important. That's what he's worried about. And to me, that makes sense. Now, internally, the Washington Post were going to endorse Kamala. Jeff Bezos stepped in and said, nope, we're not going to do that. That caused problems. People quit, all kind of stuff. All right, now, here is an op-ed that he wrote. I won't read this entire thing, but it's a pretty short read. You see the headline, The Hard Truth. Americans don't trust the news media. That is the headline, and that's the most important takeaway from this whole thing. He was talking about how Americans don't trust the media, and there's a poll that came out, and it's asking Americans, who do you trust the least, basically, or the most, the least, whatever. Now, normally, Congress comes in dead last, and right next to that is mainstream media, right above it. But now, mainstream media is ranking even lower than Congress. That's how much the American people do not trust them. Now, there's a lot more we got to get into. We got editors leaving. We got the mainstream media themselves giving their 2 cents on it. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We ain't trying to hear that sponsorship. Let's go.
Coming up right now, 2024, November the 5th. Do you know about politics? Do you know about economics? What I'm going to do is place a trade right now. It's super easy. Now, look, we're going to go. You can be part of something that was last mainstream and legal.
Yo, I know why he doing the sponsorship. I'm getting offered like a lot of money to try to do it. And I be trying not to do it, but it's a lot of money to pass up. Like, I don't want to say this company's name, like they reached out on me, but you got to stop your video and do like a 2-minute like sponsorship. I mean, it's worth it, but I be trying not to like do that. But I mean, I don't know, like I know why people are doing it like crazy.
In the USA back in 1924. So sign up to Couch today and make your first trade today.
So hit the like button if y'all can, man. I just ask people to hit the like button.
Sometimes Andrew Ross Sorkin, he's okay. He has good takes occasionally. Let's see what they say about the whole kerfuffle, shall we?
About the Washington Post, actually from NPR, saying that more than 200,000 people end up canceling their digital subscriptions to the Washington Post following the paper's decision, which, of course, is owned by Jeff Bezos, to block an endorsement of Vice President Harris for president. It's about 8% of the paper's paid circulation. This was according to...
That's a pretty big chunk. 8%. That's a pretty big chunk. But Jeff Bezos, I mean, this is a multi-billionaire. I don't think he really cares. His thing is about integrity, which, hey, man, hats off to you for that.
People who were briefed on this that told NPR this in an opinion piece that's got a lot of people talking this morning that was posted last night. Jeff Bezos saying that presidential endorsements do nothing, he says, to tip the scales of an election. Rather, he said, they create a perception of bias and non-independence. He said the decision not to endorse a candidate was a step in the right direction to regain Americans' lost trust in the news media. He did acknowledge that the late timing was not ideal, commenting that it was, in his words, because of inadequate planning and not some intentional strategy.
Yeah, that was part of.
What do y'all think about that in the comments section? You'll find out once he's back in office. What? Find out that the world gets better, like the country gets better. Like what? I don't like. Can somebody in a comment section that's blue, right? Explain to me why you're blue. Do you like wars going on? Like we literally had no wars going on when Trump was in office. Like he's one of the only presidents that had it like that. So can somebody that's blue, if you're blue, explain it to me in the comment section. I'm looking at the comments. Do you like wars or do you not like wars?
Part of the op-ed, he was like, well, maybe we should have done it earlier as far as announcing that there wouldn't be an endorsement, because there was already an endorsement planned internally at the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos catches wind of it and puts a kibosh on it and says, no, we're not going to do that. So then that created problems internally, and it created a sense of you're trying to sabotage the election. That's kind of what it did. But really, he's saying it's not like that. I just needed to do this because the people don't trust us. We're losing integrity, and ultimately we're going to fade into obscurity because we're not going to have any viewers if we're going to keep this model of reporting up.
And then like Jeff Bezos also got to think, right? Like, let's just say Trump wins. Like, people are not going to look at, like, if they endorse Kamala Harris, like, people already don't want to pay attention to CNN. They're doing anything and everything. They had Charlemagne up there arguing with Anderson Cooper, and they're saying, like, every swear word in the book. Like, trying to try to appeal to younger crowds and try, like, they're doing anything and everything that they can to try to get some sort of attention. And until finally they're like, nah. You know what I mean? Like Anderson Cooper, like, nah, let me ask Kamala Harris some hard questions. Like, I think they know, like, if Trump gets in, people are not going to watch them.
In the essay, Bezos talks about his other business interests, writing, when it comes to the appearance of a conflict, I am not an ideal owner of the Post. He notes his companies, of course, including Amazon and Blue Origin, often interact with government officials. He writes, quote, you can see my wealth and business interests as a bulwark against intimidation, or you can see them as a web of conflicting interests. Only my own principles can tip the balance from one to the other. I assure you that my views here are, in fact, principled, and I believe my track record as owner of the Post since 2013 backs this up.
Now, look, you guys got to read the op-ed because it was a lot of gems in there, and sometimes it's good to hear from a guy who is successful as Jeff Bezos is. It's good to hear from him because you can learn a lot.
Members of the paper's editorial board have resigned in protest after the decision, though my understanding is they are still employees of the Post. Interestingly, they're just not on the quote-unquote board.
That's funny. That's funny because, remember, it was reported that you had people resigning, quitting the Post. I'm done. I hate Jeff Bezos. He's spineless. Okay, you want to do all that, but all you did was just leave the board, but you're still getting the paycheck from this bad, evil guy. You see how that works? It's so silly. People are funny.
It's really too soon to tell. I mean, we're right in the middle of an election where there is such high emotions and fever pitch that every single thing that breaks seems to be the eternal crisis. But, you know, the issue in the media industry is so large that I suspect that this will move out of the news pretty quickly because we're in for a bloodbath in a few days. And I think that that is going to consume the public. And I think in most crisis situations, what comes down to is what you're competing with. And
they go that bloodbath word, but they won't say that he said anything that was threatening because he does not appear to be a conservative person. Maybe I'm incorrect about that. But obviously, bloodbath is not talking about violence. It's talking.
Blink Watson said, thanks. Appreciate you. I just gotta, you know, because a lot of times, like, when you do that, like, subscribers only, like, I mean, if people want to argue if they're subscribed, like, that's fine. But a lot of people, like, they come in here and they just want to just negative. So I just, hey, subscribers only. But if you got an opinion like that, I'm not going to block you or nothing like that. But just don't come in here just saying a whole bunch of negativity towards my subscribers.
And about, hey, come election time, is going to be a whole lot going on. It's going to be kind of a
and
cluster,
you're not even subscribed.
Regardless of how it goes. I think we all know who's going to win, and that's President Donald Trump. We all know that. But when Trump wins, the left's going to be upset. If by some miracle Kamala was to win, which it ain't going to happen, then you're going to have someone on the right that will be upset, but it won't be anything like the left. Nothing at all. All right, so you see, you get the general idea of what's going on. Jeff Bezos says, hey, we got to bring integrity back to the newsroom. We got to regain the trust of the American people, because I'm willing to bet it's not just me, it's the majority of you guys out there as well. We don't trust the media. We look at television, we read newspapers, and if it's Washington Post, Huffington Post, New York Times, MS13 DNC, the Comedy News Network, you see, we got little nicknames for these people. We view them a certain way. Our default is to not trust the media, to research, verify on our own. And going back to the op-ed, he was saying people are going to podcasts and social media memes that are unverified for their news because they don't trust us. And that's a problem because you got a lot of fake information out there. There's a lot
I actually like his stance on that. Jeff Bezos. I'm not going to endorse anybody. Like, we need to like stop doing this.
Fake stuff out there. But as I close, I want to say this. Yes, there's quite a bit of fake information on social media and podcasts, conspiracy theories or whatever, but the same thing can be said about the mainstream media. Remember the Hunter Biden laptop? It was the podcast. It was social media who said that story was legitimate. But what did the media say? Oh, it's fake, Russian misinformation. 51 intelligence officers, former, current, or whatever, came out and said that it's fake. The government put
$20 billion to Ukraine. Like, I'm saying, it's sickening, bro.
And I want to ask you about
we
that.
get in trouble and there's nothing they can do for us. It's crazy.
And I want to ask you about that because we saw the Democrats kick an own goal when they sent Barack Obama out there to berate black men for not supporting Kamala. And now...
Yes, she is absolutely right that happened. Absolutely right. Shout out to Rita. Subscribe to Sky News Australia anytime I see her, I click.
Michelle Obama is out there lecturing men. Let's play this clip from a rally in Michigan. This is how we should view men, apparently.
If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage.
Yeah, people are brainwashed.
So, are you as men?
And Wheeler Visual, shout out to you.
Look into the eyes of the women and children you love and tell them that you supported this assault on our safety?
And she also suggested that if you don't vote for Kamala, you're either racist or sexist.
What in the world is going on? And it's clear to me that the question isn't whether Kamala is ready for this moment, because by every measure, she has demonstrated that she's ready. The real question is, as a country, are we ready for this moment?
She went on to demand that men put aside their anger and vote for Kamala. And she also suggested that women should demand their men do better and back Kamala. Will that messaging work, or is it just preaching to the converted?
It's so amazing. I mean, can you imagine asking for somebody's vote by telling them your only role here is to shut up and become subservient to some other group? Now, that's insulting enough on its own. But bear in mind that the last 40 years of Democratic policy has taken the jobs of American men of all races who are working class and either shipped them overseas, defunded vocational training, or imported an entire slave caste to do construction work. So first they sold these men out. They made it impossible for them to support a family on a single income. Then they called them toxic if they dared protest and say, wait a minute, maybe a society needs strong men. No, that's toxic masculinity. And now to put the cherry on the cake, they're telling them, shut up, support women, or we will call you sexist and racist. And the worst part of...
Exactly. Like, men are already scared of women in America. Thug life, like we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look the wrong way. Oh, she think I'm catcalling her. In the workplace, like, it's like now y'all doing this, like, y'all gotta chill.
This is that this election is pitting the real urgent concerns of working class men over fake, made up concerns of college educated and rich women. Why is Michelle Obama, one of the last people on planet Earth who will ever need an abortion, out there saying her life is in danger and all of these women's lives are in danger. They're not in danger. Donald Trump promised to veto a national abortion ban. They made up this concern, this issue, because it allows billionaire and millionaire women to pretend that they are the oppressed because somehow they are related tangentially to a woman who might need a 9th-month abortion for some reason, right? It is all about who gets to LARP as the oppressed. That's basically what they're doing here.
Well, you wrote in your book, Second Class, about the political realignment that we are seeing, where the privileged, affluent, often women, are leaning left, and the working class, those who are aspirational classes, you may call them, are leaning increasingly right. You argue America has broken its contract with its labouring class. Explain what you mean by that.
Yeah, the real divide in America is not left versus right. It's not, God forbid, racial. It's the class divide that separates out people with a college education.
Let me look at the comment section. Wheeler Visual said, thug life. We got Marcus Chapman said, listen to me. We got Stanley Jackson said, man on mental. Raymond Lindsay said, Fox News. Amanda Nightster said, culture will, your elder is correct. Life is good said, nobody is scared of these chicks. They still want to be treated like a thought, but only in private. Immigrant, you saw, I said immigrant. M Wright said, sup guys, what's up with you? Emma said, they be lying. Stanley said, Uno reverse. Cam said, a 9-month abortion is crazy. Like, I mean, that's what they want. M Wright said, the men ain't coming track, call the Bears.
From people who work with their hands for a living and do the jobs we all rely on to survive. And thanks to 40 years of democratic economic policy, they basically use the economy as an upward funnel of wealth from the working class to the college educated, so that now the top 20% in America.
Raymond said, what's wrong with black men supporting Harris? I mean, if they want to do that, they could do it. I just don't see any reason why anybody would. Me personally, I don't like what Michelle Obama is doing. She's trying to set a divide, like you have to vote for her because she's a woman, you know. And then, you know, Barack Obama kind of saying the same thing, like, because we black, we need to be voting for the Democratic Party. It's kind of crazy.
Control over 50% of the GDP, and the working class is struggling. And that's why they're abandoning the Democrats, because the Democrats abandoned them. And I would say even a little more subtly, they're not moving to the right. They are voicing a radically moderate center, which is exactly where Donald Trump is on every single policy issue, which again is why they call him a fascist, because the truth is such a threat to the Democrats. Donald Trump showed up and picked up the reasonable New Deal Democrat policies from the 50s through the 90s that represent labor, and that's why they have to destroy him.
Now, there's been a mass tantrum after leftist papers, the LA Times and the Washington Post, refused to formally endorse Kamala Harris. This is unusual for both papers. Why do you think they've taken that position? Because if you actually look at their output, they just churn out anti-Trump pieces day and night, nonstop. So why aren't they formally endorsing Harris? What's the thinking there?
Do you know what's so amazing, Rita, is these are the very organs that organized the coup against Joe Biden. So they spent all of this capital because they thought Biden was going to lose to get Kamala Harris elected or put at the top of the ticket without having won a single vote. And now that she's been at the top of that ticket for 3 months, they realize, oh, actually, we all knew Kamala all along. Like, it's the same person who failed to get a single vote in 2019. And they just don't want the egg on their face at this point. It's so amazing to see how when you mess with democracy, it takes its revenge. I think that's what we're...
And that's crazy too, like in America, like you got like one-sided newspapers. That's ridiculous.
Donald Trump was asked about this yesterday. He said that Xi Jinping would bully you. He would treat you like a baby. In his words, he said it would be like a grand chess master playing a beginner.
Can we get 100,000 subscribers? Stop playing with me. Doug Life, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Wait a minute.
We would lose our country or be in World War III.
Shout out to Devore Darkins. He got 75,000 subscribers in like 3 days. Like, shout out to him.
Again, let's look at what Donald Trump did.
She said again, let's look at what Donald Trump did. Shout out to y'all. See y'all hitting the likes and the confetti.
Donald Trump was asked about this yesterday. He said that Xi Jinping would bully you. He would treat you like a baby. In his words, he said it would be like a grand chess master playing a beginner. We would lose our country or be in World War III.
Again.
Hey, wasn't that like one of the moderators?
And let's look at what Donald Trump did.
Of course, Kamala Harris would sit down with her.
All right, so it's official. Kamala Harris will not be doing the Joe Rogan podcast. In fact, JD Vance will be doing it this Wednesday, and we have new polling that continues to show that Kamala Harris...
Why don't she want to do the Joe Rogan podcast? I think she thought she was going to get the views from doing the Shannon Sharp podcast, and maybe she thought people were going to be like, yeah, she's going to the black platform to do it. Like, more racism? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's what she thought. I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous to me. But like, I think she needs to do the Joe Rogan podcast and to show that she can handle herself and have an intelligent conversation with Joe Rogan. Why is she avoiding that? She sat there with Shannon Sharp. All he did was blow smoke up her butt. That's all he did. He asked her questions like, what's your favorite music? Why do we need to know what her favorite music is? What did you eat for breakfast? Like, why do we need to know? Like, he asking her like kindergarten questions, being super nice and like, yo, like, bro, Shannon Sharp, bro, I know you feel like you needed that interview. You did not need that interview. You didn't.
Harris is not trending in the right direction. So let's start with what Joe Rogan had to say. All right, so this was yesterday. He put also for the record,
Harris campaign has not passed on doing the podcast. They offered a date for Tuesday, but I would have had to travel to her and like, what? To travel to her, and they only wanted to do an hour. What? Oh my God, bro! Like, no, bruh.
The Harris campaign has not passed on doing the podcast. They offered a date for Tuesday, but I would have had to travel to her, and they only wanted to do an hour. I strongly feel the best way to do it is in the studio in Austin. My sincere wish is to just have a nice conversation and get to know her as a human being. I really hope we can make it happen. Now, clearly, he is being very professional here. He's not trying to pick a side when it comes to this, and that's why he continues to say what he's saying. However, that was yesterday, and today it was announced that JD Vance will be doing the podcast instead.
Wow, bro.
Here's what others had to say, like Charlie Kirk, America deserves 3 hours with Kamala and Joe Rogan, unscripted, hope it happens, and she stops trying to dictate the terms. Elon Musk put good clarification. I would definitely watch the podcast. Hour 2 would be a meltdown, clearly. So multiple outlets are reporting that JD Vance will be on this interview, as I stated. But here are a couple of numbers that really stands out to me and why this is a big mistake from the Harris campaign. Check this out. Trump appeared on Rogan's show in a 3-hour episode that was posted Friday, and the episode had more than 37.6 million views as of Tuesday morning. And Rogan definitely is the #1 podcast.
So it's like literally nothing that she's doing is gonna top that. Like, so why do you only want to do an hour? And then you got to think about this, right? So if you look at the likes and dislikes on the video, Kamala Harris and Club Shay Shay, 32,000 likes, 73,000 dislikes.
On Spotify, and he has 18 million subscribers. So, you know, it's a big deal that she's not doing this, especially if she knows she's
so scared that he's going to ask her some real questions. This is crazy.
Hemorrhaging when it comes to the men vote. Younger people, she's doing terrible on as well. And the whole excuse that she's too busy to do it is just bull, okay? They just don't see her doing it if it's not going to be to her parameters, right? Now, what's interesting on CNN today, there was a political commentator that pretty much admitted out loud why Kamala Harris not doing this Joe Rogan podcast is really a bad idea, but also makes an excuse on why she shouldn't. Watch this.
Errol, little curveball here. Just before we walked out here, Joe Rogan posted on X that the Harris campaign has not passed on having the vice president sit down with Joe Rogan. What he says is right now the issue is he wants it to be in Austin where his studios are. He wants it to be 3 hours. The Harris campaign wanted it to be somewhere else, maybe a little shorter. How much of a risk would it be for her to do that podcast in the waning days of the campaign?
I don't think it's a risk at all. I mean, it might be a waste of time, but I don't think it's a risk.
Waste of time? This dude is so out of touch with reality.
I mean, look, she needs to talk to...
Elizabeth Turner said 291 likes. Can we get like 400 likes, please?
And she's been specifically trying to talk to younger men of lesser
Hey, you know what? Hey, Elizabeth Turner, you know what's going on, right? There's a lot, like, they want me to talk about, like rap and, like, stuff like that, like, real bad. Like, it's a lot of money into that. And so that's low-key, like, where the algorithm is right now. So, I mean, I'm deciding, like, right now to talk about this. But I'm telling you, Elizabeth Turner, if you talking about distractions, you getting them views. I could show you. I could go live and talk about entertainment, and views are going to be crazy. I could show you.
Education, not college educated. She doesn't connect with them naturally. She hasn't had a pitch that has really hit home with them so far. She's issued some policy statements, but they're not really well thought out in a lot of ways. And so she needs some authenticity. And if she thinks it will help her in, Detroit, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, or Milwaukee, then it's worth her time. If she's not sure that that's going to happen, then it's a complete waste of time. She doesn't need young male voters out of Texas. That's not a state that she's going after.
Yeah, but she was just in Texas with Beyonce.
Yeah.
So how do you square that? Yeah. And what's interesting, when she sat down for that CBS interview, they asked her the same question. They know the momentum is gone, and the men vote is not good for her. And here's what she had to say.
It does suggest that your momentum has slowed. Do you feel like the race is slipping away?
I do not. And actually, and I agree with you. I think certainly polling is a measure, but to be frank, if I'd listened to polls, I would have never run for my first or second office. I wouldn't be here talking with you.
Because they already got a plan. Hey, I'm not, hey, I'm not saying what I think it is. I'm just saying she ain't worried. She ain't worried about the votes. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, you hear what she said. She ain't worried about the votes. Look at her. Look at her face. She knows she ain't worried about them votes. Watch this. Look at her face.
That your momentum has slowed. Do you feel like the race is slipping away?
I do not. And actually, and I agree with you. I think certainly polling is a measure, but to be frank, if I'd listened to polls, I would have never run for my first or second office. I wouldn't be here talking with you. And what I am seeing are in states such as South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, historic turnout. Historic turnout.
Yeah, so let's tell you the full story on that. There is a historic turnout when it comes to early voting, but not with the demographics that she needs to win. So, for example, Georgia, the black vote is significantly down when it comes to early voting. All right, so they need to be 30% or above. They're under 30%. Like 24% of the early vote is black people. So according to top pollsters, if the Democrats were going to dominate Georgia, they need black people to show up more than 30% in the early vote, and that's not happening. So there's that. North Carolina, the Republicans clearly have out-registered Democrats, and they're leading when it comes to the early voting and mail-in ballot. So I don't know what she's talking about when she says that. Now, we know we've been seeing Kamala Harris doing a lot of pandering to the black community. When you think about the black church, you think about the Charlemagne town hall, all that focus that she's been putting on black people at the last minute. She hasn't been focusing on the Latino vote. And now there's new polling showing that she's not doing good in that department either. Check this out.
Harris, as I said, had an 18-point advantage with Latinos. Biden in the 2020 exit polls,
He had a 24-point advantage over Trump 4 years ago among Latinos in Arizona. Harris is +1 with Latinos in Nevada in our poll, but according to the 2020 exit polls, Biden won them by 26 percentage points. If that actually is what emerges on election day, that's a big warning sign in Nevada.
Yeah, see, it's a prioritization of attention, right? Where is her campaign putting attention? It's now being reported that they have pulled their ads out of North Carolina. So it's funny how she just said,
yo,
we're seeing historic.
Emma said, I'm from North Carolina and we vote and we for Trump. Theorist 9 said electoral college names are public knowledge, unfortunately.
Turnout in North Carolina. Yeah, but you just pulled your ads out of there. So tell me how that makes sense. Their attention has been predominantly on what? Trump is a Nazi. Trump is bad. Don't vote for the orange man. Vote for me because I'm a person of color and I'm a woman and I represent a new generation of leadership. But even though I've been part of the current administration, I mean, that's been the message. And so there's been so many people urging her to stop talking that way. But I truly believe she's like an addict. She's a fiend. She can't help but blame everything on Trump, especially when she's hit with a serious question about how she will respond on the world stage to our adversaries. Listen to this.
Donald Trump was asked about this yesterday. He said that Xi Jinping would bully you. He would treat you like a baby. In his words, he said it would be like a grand chess master playing a beginner. We would lose our country or be in World War III.
Again, let's look at what Donald Trump did. He sold advanced chips to China. Donald Trump, who admires dictators.
You know, the interesting thing is there may be some truth to that because she has yet in any interview made anybody truly feel that she is the best thing to lead this country when it comes to foreign policy, right? Like when we say she's going to.
Josh Cooper goes said people have issues with biracial. That's crazy.
Go up against Putin or China or Iran or North.
Wheeler Visual said treat you like a baby is crazy.
Korea. Nobody feels confident about that. And so maybe the campaign should be helping her focus on the right messaging to really close the deal here because she's missing the mark. And how do we know that? Because you still have the New York City Mayor Eric Adams coming out and condemning your closing message. Listen to this.
And they're talking about these real problems we're having. And with all that's going on to everyday New Yorkers, we're asking questions that is someone a fascist or is someone a Hitler. That's insulting to me. That is insulting. And I'm not going to engage in that. Everyone needs to turn down the rhetoric. Because after Election Day, we still have to be the United States and not the divided states. And so if people can't understand their real issues facing New Yorkers, and I just find it just humiliating that with every day.
Aren't they supposed to be removing Eric Adams from office? Didn't the governor say they were gonna remove him over that scandal going on? Why is he still there?
Mom and pops are doing and going through across this country, that here we are having this conversation about this silly item. So I refuse to participate in that. I'm going to fight for New Yorkers like I've done for years, and whomever can understand.
Have y'all been in New York lately? I have. It's a lot of immigrants there. It's a whole lot of them.
That they're not in the streets.
That's something that I would expect from all mayors and all governors to stop supporting the whole fascist and Hitler message, just like they don't support when Trump was calling her a communist. I mean, why don't you have the same standard both ways, right? Now, before I go any further, if you guys are getting value from this video, do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you want to support us further, go to the press conference today at Mar-a-Lago. Listen to this.
Her message has been a message of hate and division. And my message is about saving our economy, securing our border, bringing together the greatest and broadest coalition in American history. There's never been a coalition like this.
And I donated to his campaign today.
Everybody's included.
Get mad! I did. Get mad! Get mad!
I'm announcing that for the first time under my administration, we will be seizing the assets of the
Hit the
criminal
like
gangs
button.
and drug cartels. Announcing that for the first time under my administration, we will be seizing the assets of the criminal gangs and drug cartels.
Yo, you hear that?
And we will use those assets to create a compensation fund to provide restitution for the victims of migrant crime, and the government will help in the restoration.
Yeah, so just think about it. If you go back 4 years ago and you had said, yeah, RFK Jr., Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tulsi Gabbard, amongst other people they're probably going to attract because of their own network, is going to be a part of an administration that is going to turn the country around, I think you'd probably be hopeful. But because the name is Donald Trump, they don't want to give any credit to that, right? Okay, so let's look at the bigger picture. October 29th is where we are today. And then we're going to compare it to 2020 and 2016. Look at this. Nationally, Trump is up by 0.4. In 2020, Biden was up by 7.4. Clinton was up by 4.6. Now, as I go through these poll numbers, I'm expecting that you have registered to vote, and you either did vote or you're planning to vote. And if you haven't, please make sure you do that, right?
This day in history, October 29th.
So when you heard me say that the Kamala Harris campaign pulled out ads from North Carolina and they're going to divert those resources in another state, you can see why. Because all of the polls in October, most of them all show Trump. Now, Michigan is something I want to give a little bit of attention to because there was a story that came out from CBS showing that the Muslim Americans in Michigan are refusing to vote for Kamala Harris, full stop.
One potential hurdle for Vice President Harris is reluctance among some Arab American voters, especially in Michigan, to support her due to the Biden administration's support for Israel in the war in Gaza.
And what are you going to do this time? Third party.
Remember I said that? Like, they don't want to vote for her?
Jill Stein.
Write-in or third party, I haven't made my decision, but it's one of those two.
Write-in or third party. You just can't ask us to vote for genocide, and it's a terrible position to be in. I don't want to see Trump as president, but I cannot, in good conscience, give her my vote. You can't expect us to be healthy.
Which is kind of silly. Like, you don't want to see Trump in office, even though when he was in office, there were no wars. Like, but I can't vote for her because of the genocide. Like, what are you talking about, lady? Is that person making sense? That person's literally making no sense. If you don't like that and you want it to stop, you want to vote for the person that's going to get it to stop. Shout out. I see the hearts in here. Shout out to y'all. Shout out the hearts, the confetti, emojis. I appreciate that.
Healthy, functioning members of this country while you utilize our tax dollars to destabilize our homelands and murder our family members.
You will have a certain percentage who's going to vote for Trump, but then you're going to have the vast majority of them voting for who? Jill Stein. And that's going to take away votes from Kamala Harris. So although they have her up by 0.3, there's still a lot of red here in the month of October. So again, the trend has been going in the direction of Trump. Now, we all know this is in the margin of error, so this could go either way. Okay, so let's go over a few scenarios that I've been paying attention to that might be likely outcomes in this election.
So 226, Trump 219.
So according to the current early voting data, it's looking like Nevada is going to go to Trump, like all things considered, because usually Democrats dominate.
That is really weird. Like, you can have all of that red and they'll still have Harris up. Like, isn't that wild to think about? California is big, but that's like when I was watching the election results before, I'm like, how did Biden, like, this is literally crazy.
In the early voting, and they've been getting left behind in Nevada. So if that continues, Nevada is going to belong to Trump. Currently right now, Trump is still up in Arizona. She has not been able to make a dent in that whatsoever. If we go to Georgia, Trump is up in Georgia still. I told you guys about the early voting as it pertains to the black vote. It's down. It's not where it needs to be. We just went over North Carolina, so we're going to give that to Trump as well. Now that puts him at 268. So clearly we are left with the Rust Belt states. Michigan, I'm telling you, the Jill Stein thing, I think if there's any state that Jill Stein is going to negatively impact Kamala Harris, it's going to be Michigan. No question. And so some people still believe that Kamala Harris will win Michigan. And when you're talking about a state that is going to be won on less than 10,000 votes, yeah, I would say that's probably going to go to Trump, which leaves us with Wisconsin and Michigan. Even if he lost Wisconsin and he lost Pennsylvania, he's at 283. Right? He only needs to win one of these three states, just one. She'd have to win all three. Let me show you that. If she wants to win, she'd have to win all three. All right. So what I want to do really quick is just go over a few scenarios of what could happen in the Electoral College map. We obviously know.
Yo, when it's time for the election, bro, we gonna be up here. Hey, y'all coming here? We gonna be up here just watching, like, like, I cannot wait. I can't wait, bro.
That anything could happen. We don't know what the ending number will be with 100% certainty. However, if we're taking into consideration the early voting data, the trends that have been happening over the past couple of weeks, and the polling data average from October, one of these scenarios are more likely to happen. Let's just start with what could happen for Kamala Harris that would allow her to win this election. If she was able to win Nevada, she was able to win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, she's the next president. It's just that simple. And now here's another scenario where Trump does win Arizona, Trump does win Nevada, but she still has 270 because she is winning in the Rust Belt states. Another way to look at this for Trump's side is if he was able to win New Hampshire, because right now that's in the margin of error, that would put him at 272. So she could still win the Rust Belt state and lose because New Hampshire is now in play. Another scenario for Trump is even if he did lose New Hampshire, but what if he won Virginia, right? He could still become the president, even if she wins those Rust Belt states. Now, the outcome that I really want to see is where Trump, at a minimum, wins all three Rust Belt states, and it ends up being a landslide at that point. Why? Because we need a definitive defeat for either party. Either it needs to be like,
yo, this is insane, bro. Like, this is insane.
This at a minimum, or it needs to go the other way where she sweeps the battleground states and it's a total defeat. Why? Because we need people to understand that the people in America have spoken. Yeah, so Kamala Harris not doing the Joe Rogan podcast. JD Vance is going to do it. That's a bad look already. With the reach that he has and the hemorrhaging she's already experiencing with the male vote, I think she should have capitalized on that. Number two, clearly the state of Michigan is a huge problem for Kamala Harris. She pulled out ads in North Carolina. She's focusing her attention in Philadelphia right now, especially with black men. Will those things pay off for her? I don't believe it will. You guys saw the different scenarios there. But also is this, the closing message. Her closing message is very simple. Trump is a fascist. He's the next thing to Hitler. He's going to end democracy as we know it. And your rights as a woman is going to be taken away. Your daughter's rights is going to be taken away. And you should vote for me based on those things, even though you don't know anything about what I'm going to do in my next presidency, because I'm more likely to be like Joe Biden. That's her closing message. Trump, on the other hand, is very simple. I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to keep taxes low. I'm going to put no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Right. I'm going to give a tax credit to home care providers.
Not only that, like interest on your car is going to be able to be tax deductible. So you got to think about tax deductible, deductible on your house taxes. Dope. And then now you get to, like, if you buy a new car, you get to claim that as well. Like, that's fire, bro. And like no taxes on overtime. And he's got influence in Congress right now. Like, he could actually get this stuff to pass, man.
We're going to cap those interest rates for the credit cards temporarily.
And then Ani said, I'm voting for Trump.
We're doing a tax deduction on car loan interest rates. I mean, all of that is very simple. Place tariffs to promote.
Natalia said, anybody that was okay with the geriatric man as head of our government, and we were lied to that he is not senile. Those people need to be held accountable, not given the White House. Exactly. If they want to ask, Kamala Harris wants to ask for Donald Trump's like medical records. I mean, we kind of wanted to know what was going on with, you know what I mean? Like her boss, like Does he have something cognitively going on? You know, we want to know. Like, this dude's running the country. He's dealing with warlords and all. Like, we want to know what's going on. So, but they didn't want to do that.
Promote people to create their businesses and manufacturing businesses here stateside. And so we're going to make America affordable again. We're going to make America great again. You guys get it. So both messages from the campaigns are polar opposite, of course. One's focusing on personality and character. The other one's focusing on policy. And I like that's how we're ending, because that's really how we started. And that is my opinion. So what do you guys think about the fact that she's skipping out on this podcast? What do you think about the new polling, the potential electoral maps? Did you vote already? Let me know in the comments section. If you're not registered.
Shout out to you, Devora. You've been putting in a word. And another thing, like, he's actually really passionate about this. He was on vacation. He didn't even like literally, like, I was watching, like, we were reacting to some of his videos. He didn't even enjoy his vacation. His dude was like throwing videos up. Cause he is like seriously invested in everything that's going on. So shout out to him.
Megyn Kelly was on the Bill Maher show, and she came to talk. She came to talk her shit, okay, to Bill Maher, and she wasn't gonna let it slide. You know, Bill Maher has this thing where you go on his show, and shout out to Bill Maher. I admire him in a lot of ways. I have criticism for him and others, and hopefully it's helpful and healthy criticism. You can come on his show sometimes, and he'll sort of talk at you and claim that you're wrong and have the audience laugh at you, because that's the sort of built-in support you have as a late-night show host. Your audience is there to see you and to hear you and to laugh at you and support you. And he can sort of bulldoze his guests in more ways than one, with that being the built-in support that he has. Megyn Kelly did not allow it to happen. Now, she brought up children transitioning, which of course is a big issue, a massive issue, and people try to bring that issue down and say it's not so important. She was not going to let that slide. She actually left the audience stunned. Let's roll the clip.
Almost equally important, maybe as important, is what we're doing to our children with this trans insanity. I mean, this is almost my single issue. We are chopping off the healthy body parts of young children without 100%. We are doing that.
Well, we are definitely doing that.
That's crazy to think about, man. It's literally insane.
Without any inquisition.
That's what it is. So
into
I don't know
what's
what
happened.
the oohing is about.
I don't either. Pay attention, because I'm about to give you a truth bomb. Kids who are suffering from bullying, or who have been sexually assaulted, or who are going through normal puberty and feel uncomfortable in their bodies, will say to their parents, I'm not sure, maybe I'm gender confused. They will send them into a psychiatrist or psychologist, who are told by our organizations, the American Psychiatry Association, and all the others that run their licensing, you must affirm. Affirm is the only standard. And so the child gets told, you're right, you are secretly a boy, or vice versa. And the child gets put on puberty blockers, into cross-sex hormones, which sterilize a child and deprive the child of any chance of sexual pleasure for the rest of his or her life. We're talking about 9, 10, 11-year-olds who cannot.
Yeah, this is like disturbing. I don't even want to hear about this. I don't even want to hear about that. Oops, I got fired from Australia. What's going on? Oh, she got blocked. Shout out to Candace Owens. We found Miss Burrow's mother. You found Kamala Harris's grandmother's mother. Let's see what she's saying.
Investigation right before we're about to do the show.
Yeah, that kid thing, like, bro, I don't even want to hear about. That's like crazy, bro.
Seems to be these big breaks, and then we are just clamoring. We're all over the place trying to gather everything that we've just realized. And I had a major break in the Kamala investigation, and I am stressed. I'm actually, as I said on Instagram, at the point where I personally want reparations from Kamala Harris. I actually think all of us are now personally due reparations from Kamala Harris for this book. The ancestral blackface that is going on is out of control. Obviously, we have been investigating Beryl, and you're just not going to believe what we've actually found out about Beryl's mom, Iris. So let's just get started right away. Welcome back to Candace.
Let's go, Candace.
what you have done. So let's just pick up with Beryl, right? That is what we have been inching closer to, recognizing that we've been lied to about Beryl. That was the big break that we got last week. And as I said, I confirmed this with relatives in Kamala's family that she lied about Beryl. That picture is not the correct Beryl. She was light-skinned, and that she had a sister named Norma. So I just kind of wanted to focus on Beryl myself, because I just felt like you get this feeling that we're so close and there's something that's in our face and we're just kind of missing it. That's how I have felt throughout this entire process. Like, Candace, what are the pieces that you're putting together here, that the picture is appearing in front of you? So I said, let me go.
And then Marcus Chapman said, there go my girl Candace. Candace reminds me of Ladybug.
Go back and just kind of.
Hey, Piper Boy, love your channel. Love your content, battle rap, entertainment. I'm a new YouTube streamer. Could you shout me out? I don't do stuff
write
for
down
free, bro.
the bullet points of the things that we know as,
because I had to, like, you gotta think, bro, 97,000 subscribers. I had to do all this from the ground up. Like, nobody helped me.
For sure, like basically as a fact about this alleged Beryl Finnegan that we have been looking for, okay? What do we actually have as presented as fact? Rather,
Shirley and Truly said 100,000. Oh, yeah. Hey, we try to, Thug Life, we try to get 100,000 subscribers. We got 97,000. 3,000 subscribers to go is the goal to 100,000 subscribers. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting the channel, trying to get the channel into the algorithm. I see y'all hitting the hearts. I appreciate that. Double tap the screen if y'all can. You know what I mean? I definitely appreciate that.
They're from Kamala or Kamala.
But we need 100,000 subscribers. Thug Life, she got almost 3 million. Help me. Help me.
His father or somebody related to her family. So here it is. I'm going to take you guys through this list. Per Donald's essay, which was published in Jamaican Global Online, we know that Beryl's mother's name is Iris, that she went as Miss Iris. Per that same essay, we learned that Iris was married to Mr. Christie, which implies...
Beryl clues. Per Donald's essay, Beryl's mother is named Iris. Per Donald's essay, Iris was married to Mr. Christie, implying surname could include Christie. Per Donald's essay, Iris ran a cane farm near Ainan Town. Beryl's mother was involved in a church. Per Dorothy's memories, Beryl was extraordinarily light-skinned, confirmed by Kamala's relative. Beryl's mother's maiden name was Finnegan. She had a sister named Norma, confirmed by relatives.
It's not for certain that his surname could include, that her surname could include Christie. So maybe we have Iris Christie somewhere. Or also maybe perhaps that we have a Beryl Christie somewhere, because perhaps we could assume that Mr. Christie is her father. What we know as an established fact from Donald's essay is that Iris and Mr. Christie ran a cane farm near, and I don't know if I've been saying this right, but I've been saying Ainan Town, or maybe it's Ainan Town. That is, again, what he put in his essay. He also let us know that Beryl's mother, Iris, was involved in the church. We then knew, per Dorothy's memories, that Beryl was extraordinarily lighter than Kamala Harris. And again, I confirmed that with a relative, a direct relative of Kamala, the family.
And we've seen an email from her talking to one of Kamala Harris's family members.
He said, no, that is not a picture of Beryl that is put in her book, which is explosive, and every mainstream news media outlet should be reporting on this. And of course they are not, because they are terrified of this series, because they are complicit in all of these lies. And we also know that Beryl's mother's maiden name was Finnegan. We learned this, by the way, in his essay. He writes that her name was Nay Finnegan. We're going to actually read his essay directly, because there are some things that I really want to impress upon you. And lastly, as I said earlier, we know that she had a sister, that sister's name is Norma, and that Norma was even whiter than Beryl was. That has been confirmed by relatives. Okay. Now I want to jump into focusing on what specifically Donald wrote in his piece, because I had to just keep rereading it for clues until finally it jumped on me. I'm taking you guys on.
Oh, also shout out to Lotto. She's like a rapper, singer lady. I went to go see her a couple of days ago. She ended up, what was it, the 27th. So I ended up seeing her on the 27th. She ended up like posting something, like re-uploading something that I post on her Twitter, you know, so shout out to her. Jamaica with the $2 donation said, big ups. I fear you're going to hit 100,000 on election day. Hey, shout out to everybody. I hope I can get it before then. Shout out to them. Shout out to Lotto, though. Like, that surprised me. Shout out to her.
The journey that I have been on over the last few weeks. Donald wrote that, and I'm just going to read, quote, my roots go back within my lifetime to my paternal grandmother, Miss
Big Lotto. That's my girl, Thug Life. I like Lotto, bro. I seen her in person. We gonna get back to. I seen Lotto in person. I'm like, Lord, I see why everybody love her, bro. Like she. Whew.
She, formerly Christiana Brown, descendant of Hamilton Brown, who is on record as plantation and slave owner and a founder of Brownstown. And to my maternal grandmother, this is where we're going to focus, Miss Iris, formerly Iris Finnegan, farmer and an educator from Eanontown and Inverness, ancestry unknown to me. Okay, now here is the rest of Donald's piece. We're pulling this up for you if you'd like to read along. We're just focusing on the portion about Miss Iris, okay? Miss Iris, mother of 8 children too, was the sweetest and gentlest person one could meet. But underneath it was a tough farming woman who ran the cane farm at Thatchwalk near Eanontown, jointly owned with her husband, Mr. Christie. She was always ready to go to church on Sunday to preach and teach about the revelations that she saw approaching the world at that time, during and after World War II, in accord with the Bible. I spent summers with her roaming around the cane field, fascinated by the mechanical operation of cane juicing by the old method.
Elizabeth Turner said, "You make me love her."
A wooden pole extended out from the grinding machine and tied to a mule, walking round and round to grind the cane. And eager to drink a cup of the juice caught directly from the juice flowing into the vat to be boiled and crystallized as raw sugar. No Coke or Pepsi could beat the taste of that fresh cane juice. It was a joy and a learning experience for me to hang out with the workers on the cane farm, see them wield a cutlass, the machete, with such flourish and finesse, listen to their stories of exploits, some too X-rated for me to repeat, and sit with them as they prepared their meal by putting everything in one big Dutch pot, cooking over an open fire in the field, and serving it out on a big banana leaf for all of us to eat sitting there. Looking back now, I can say with certainty, and all due credit to Miss Iris, that it was this early intimate exposure to operation of the sugar industry at the local level of small-scale production with family labor and free wage labor, coupled with my growing curiosity about how these things came to be, that led me, once I started reading about the history of Jamaica, to a closer study of the sugar industry. I came then to understand its origin as a system of global production and commerce based on slave labor, with Jamaica as a key component of that system from its very start. Miss Iris died in 1981 at the grand old age of 93, and I grieved over the loss of someone so dear and close to me. She is shown here in a photo taken by me in 1966, just back from church, proudly holding in her lap little Kamala, and confident in her firm prediction even then of the future achievements of her great-granddaughter, after giving her blessings by making a cross with her finger on the child's forehead. Okay, I wanted to read that to you so that you could be processing.
Joseph Turner 199 said, "I'm back and going to vote for Trump right now." Shout out to you, man. Hey, if you do that, like send that to me on Twitter, like a picture of you doing that, and I'll retweet you or like whatever.
This information with me. I actually realized there are a ton of clues in here. There are aspects of this piece that never quite even made sense to me, by the way. The biggest thing that I thought was a glaring error of some description was the fact that he says that Iris was née Finnegan, that she was formerly Finnegan, implying that she then became Iris Christie because she says that she was married to Mr. Christie. I think we can reasonably assume that within this time frame, okay, this isn't like the woke United States 2024, men were not taking the surnames of women, right? So if he's being called Mr. Christie, it's likely not because he is taking her surname. And I thought that was very strange that he wrote née Finnegan because it would imply that she was born Finnegan. And we know that that wasn't accurate because we have Beryl's birth certificate. Okay, so we have Iris's daughter, Beryl's, Grandma Beryl, the birth certificate, and it lists Iris Finnegan, but it says that her name is formerly Allen. Okay, so he should have written Iris née Allen as the mother. So that was always something that I just had in my head as a strange.
Yo, she pulling up birth. Yo, she is on it. It said birth in the district. Okay. St. Anne.
Question mark, we're showing you that birth certificate right now. There we have, just as he listed, in Inverness, St. Anne, born in 1917. We have Beryl Magdalene, a female, and the mother is Iris Finnegan, formerly Allen, listed as a seamstress. Okay. So parking that aside, another thing that he gives us, he writes that she lived to the grand old age of 93. So I just went in my head, okay, how many people with the name Iris, Finnegan, Christie, whatever it is, have lived that long in that particular area in this time frame? We've got to be able to limit this down to just a few irises, maybe even just one iris. People just don't live into their 90s, right? So I was looking for a woman that was born around 1888 and lived until the 1980s with the surnames Christie or Finnegan, okay? Lo and behold, And by the way, I want to be clear, this is off by 2 years. But I was always comfortable with the idea that he may have had her birth year wrong or her death year wrong, because on Jamaican Global Online, they actually had to update this piece twice because Donald had
Yeah, Theorist 9 says she shows all receipts.
the wrong death date and his wrong age dates for when Christiana Brown died. Quite strange, because when you're writing a piece, you can sit down and do the math. But I know that they had to adjust this piece a few times because of wrong dates for his grandparents. So lo and behold, I come across on Ancestry.com this entry of an Iris Christie. I'm going to show you this right now. Look at this. An Iris Christie, a female, death age 97, died in Kingston, Jamaica. Born, death date is in 1983, which puts her birth date at 1886. And it tells us that her spouse is Claudius Christie. I said, okay, like there could be another woman that lived this long with the exact same name around the exact same area. Let me see if I can locate a death certificate for...
Hey, look, bro, we not saying nothing bad about Lotto, bro. Lotto, like, shout out to her. Like, we ain't saying nothing bad about
this
her.
Miss Iris Christie, and we were, in fact, able to locate a death certificate. So let's pull that up here. All right, so we're getting a little...
Glorilla, on the other hand, has been wilding. Like, she just came out, like, I think yesterday, like, supporting, like, Kamala Harris. So she been low-key wilding.
More information here. We have this Iris Christie. It tells us that she died of respiratory failure. Okay, check. It tells us that she was married. Okay, check. It tells us that she lived to the ripe old age of 97. Now, he says 93 or 94, but okay, that doesn't put me off at all. Again, she was quite old and he would have been quite young, and he maybe didn't have that correct. Tells us the birthplace is St. Anne. I'm feeling really good about this, and I'm going, okay, like, let's maybe look into Claudius Christie. Now, of course, what's missing here is we don't have any indication that her name was formerly Finnegan or at all Finnegan. So we're putting this in the maybe pile until we came across something else that was incredibly interesting. Just give me 30 seconds to toss this to one of our advertisers, and I'm going to marry to an Iris Christie. And this is the screenshot that instantly came up that made me go, oh, okay, look at this screenshot from Ancestry.com. Claudius E. Christie. And then you see it says relative S.S. Finnegan. Oh, but look at the birth. We have the birth in Jamaica, Edentown, St. Anne. Okay, things are happening here. Things are happening here. So pull that back up. So we know that this man was married to Iris, and for whatever reason, this document, and you can see we're going to get into a U.S. passenger list, a ship that is going to New Orleans. Like, what are we talking about here? And from Edentown, like, now I'm like, okay, we're getting real specific here.
New Orleans, U.S. passenger list. Yeah, I went to New Orleans, like, what was it, like last month? Shout out to New Orleans.
Edentown, Iris, Mr. Christie. You're not going to convince me we don't have the right Mr. Christie here. But I said, let's take a look and see what we can come up with, okay? This is just crazy. So let's take a look at this document, the ship manifest document, and see if anything jumps out at us, okay? So just to be clear, when you're seeing that SS Finnegan, what happens is that when people are on Ancestry, they are trying to read this old script and they're writing whatever they think that it says, or doing their best to write what they think that it says, to decipher what it is that people are writing. And obviously, this is quite old. This is from 1943. And we have this ship, again, the David C. Shanks ship. Now, this instantly flagged in my head because I remember that Lawford Newland. Remember that name when we found a marriage certificate between a Beryl and a Lawford Newland. And Lawford, for whatever reason, was going for agricultural work into New Orleans. And I was going, this doesn't make any sense. Beryl was supposed to have money. And we know Beryl had money because her son was rolling around. Her son, Kenneth, has been rolling around in a motorcycle. And Dorothy fondly remembers that, remembers them running the store. So that was, I'm already like, okay, now we have.
So he had to have some money back then to have a motorcycle.
Now we have Mr. Christie on the same exact ship, headed to the same exact place, presumably also for agricultural work. So it's 2 pages. I'm going to give you first a bird's eye view of page 1 of this manifest, and then we'll cut over here to page 2, and now we're going to do a close-up of what it says, okay? So there you can see that we have 2 Claudius Christies, and they are traveling together, and it says Claudius Christie 33, that's the age, Claudius Christie 24, and then you can see in the further column that it lets us know, yes, he is from Edentown, St. Anne, Jamaica. Okay. Now, if we get to that second page, and this is exactly how we did it today too, I went, okay, that person wrote S.S. Finnegan, but I don't see S.S. Finnegan, right? I see maybe J.J. Finnegan. I asked Mark, my director, he's like, yeah, no, I see J.J. I don't think there's anybody that makes an S like that in cursive. So we're going, okay, well, interesting. But actually what I find more interesting is that next to it, in parentheses, it says what I believed was friend. I'm going, wait a second. This guy is married, okay? He's married to Iris. This shouldn't be a friend of his. This should be some sort of a relative. We again see Eatontown, St. Anne, Jamaica. And beneath it, I can't make out who his father is. Looks to me to say like Jamie Christie might be the father. But I'm going, why would J.J. Finnegan, and maybe I'm just reading the cursive wrong, be listed as a friend? And then I said, wait, what is this column in general? Like, what is this column asking for them to fill out? And here's what the top of that column says. It says the name and complete address of the nearest relative or friend in the country whence the alien came, or if none there, then in the country of which a citizen or subject. So he has put down that he's got a friend. I don't know if this is like to vouch for, just writing down a friend would be this JJSSTT. We don't really know, but we've got a Finnegan friend, and this math is not mathing. Furthermore, on this document, this Mr. Christie is listed as a Black Negro. Now, why is that relevant? Well, it's relevant because Donald Harris has provided us with a photo of his wife, Miss Iris Christie. Okay? Miss Iris, is very much Black, very, very dark-skinned, the woman that is holding Kamala Harris. And now we are being told, informed by the SHIP manifest, that her husband was also a Black Negro. And I am not saying that I am a geneticist. I am not saying that I am 23andMe, but I've been around. I've been around enough to know that two Black Negroes cannot produce a white Norma or an Irish.
Yeah, Candace, chill. She is wilding on Kamala, bro.
Looking barrel.
LaRonda, why'd you say that?
So what the heck is going on here? Also, just like I said about Lawford Newland and Burial, typically people who own and operate farms and are operating stores are not out here on ships to America looking to pick up work, agricultural work, with their sons or their relatives. So I said, can we find Claudius's birth certificate? Okay, can we find Claudius? Maybe Claudius had money, I don't know, and then gave it to his wife, and then she gave it to Beryl. Like, who is this Claudius Christie? And here's what we came up with. Yeah, here's Claudius's birth certificate. Claudius was born in 1895. So
she got the birth certificates and everything. She not playing, bruh. She got 830,000 views on this, and ain't nobody gonna ask Kamala Harris. What's she think about that?
Makes sense, having married Iris. And it tells us that his mother's name is Emily Christie and that she was a laborer. Gosh, where so many laborers? Where is all of this money coming from? You guys, what are we to make of this? I will tell you what I have made of this. I think I was correct from day one, okay? What they have done is they have merged identities, okay? I very much believe on the basis of what Donald wrote in his piece that he knew the identity of the people who worked on the farm. He did. He tells you. He ran around. They told him the stories. Like, okay, so he knew these workers. He knew these agricultural workers. And there's no doubt in my mind that he had a real relationship with them. Such a real relationship that I believe that Donald Harris merged the identity of the people who worked on the farm and the people who owned it. I believe the people who owned that farm are his true grandparents, okay? I think Kamala's real great-grandmother was Ora Iris Allen, okay? Not Nay Finnegan. I believe it is Nay Allen, that she was Ora Allen. And I know and now believe that he told the truth about her love of preaching the Bible, because now that I had that in my mind, I said, let me just look up Ora Allen. Let me look up Ora Allen. I'm looking up Ora Christie, all this stuff. What about just Ora Allen? And would you believe that we were able to stumble upon an Iris Allen multiple times in the Kingston Gleaner as an evangelist for the New Testament Church of God, Cambridge, St. James. I'm going to show you that piece right here. Cambridge, you have Rev. Winston Williams and evangelist Iris Allen, multiple entries that tell us that she was involved with this church. And when I mapped out where this church was, ladies and gentlemen, it was in St. Anne. So again, what do we have a circumstance of? Well, I'm telling you right now, if the next journalist that is in front of her does not begin to ask her questions about this, okay, then we know that everyone is simply a fraud, because this is unbelievably scandalous, okay? It is unbelievably scandalous. I truly believe with everything in me that that picture of Beryl that she used was likely a woman whose name was Beryl. I don't doubt that, but it wasn't her grandma, okay? That wasn't Grandma Beryl. That was likely a grandma. That was likely somebody's grandma who had been working on a farm, which was in part owned by her father's family. And similarly, for this Iris Allen and these women who never quite looked affectionate in these photos with Kamala Harris, Yeah, I believe that that woman likely worked on that farm for a very long time. And so he had the confidence to take their names and to merge their identities with his true relatives who he does not want to give to the public.
Man, we don't know who this lady is. That's crazy. So she went to high school in Canada. She started college in Canada. They're making up family members, allegedly. This is literally crazy. Thank you, Red Tornado, for watching.
So now I'm very interested in the true Iris Allen, okay, and who, in fact, her husband is. Maybe Allen was her married name, who knows? But I'm interested in the Allen family because I think this all but proves that she has completely lied about both of these grandparents. Because like I said, I ain't a geneticist. I don't do genetics, but I've been around. And you just cannot tell me that two Negro blacks created a white Irish-looking woman and an even whiter woman who we have still yet to find. And that's all I'm going to say on that topic for right now. All right, guys, medical tests can reveal your body's biological age, which
she making crazy money off these sponsorships.
Never ran on being black, and that wasn't ever a thing. So I just want to make sure that I remind everyone that it was the thing. Like, we didn't do this because we just decided to wake up one day and choose violence. They chose violence by going after Janet Jackson, and we rose to the occasion. So let's take a trip down memory lane and take a look at some clips of Kamala really just speaking about she didn't even say she was black. At once upon a time, 2006, she said she was African-American. Like, there is no African in this woman, okay? Jamaican percentage at most. But in 2006, at the State of the Black Union, she became African. Take a listen.
It is morally incorrect, but nobody cares about that. You can look at Katrina.
Hey, please don't come in here talking about battle rap.
Nobody cares about the fact that we've got a bunch of young black and brown men in prison. That argument is not working. What I suggest we do as African Americans is own this issue in law enforcement and then define it in the way that works for us. Because it is a myth to say that African Americans don't want law enforcement. We do. We want our grandmothers to be able to walk to church and be safe. We want our babies to be
Wow, really? Come on.
able to walk to the park and be safe. What we don't want is racial profiling. What we don't want is excessive force. That's right. What we don't want is to have our civil liberties and civil rights be stripped, but we do want law enforcement.
Okay, Kamala, thus far you're like an Indian Canadian Jew, but we'll just go with that for a second and also watch this clip of her being interviewed by Uncle Luke on people questioning her blackness that was posted to her YouTube. This is 2019. Take a listen.
When people question your blackness, you were on that bus, you were part of the civil rights movement, but the struggle is convincing people that this is a strong black woman who lives a strong black life, and why is there any question?
You're right, it's frustrating.
Dude, is she sitting down with Uncle Luke? Y'all know he is. What kind of parties this dude been having? Like, yo, that is insane. This is not somebody she want to be sitting down with.
There was this one journalist who said to me, I'm doing this interview, and he says, well, you have family members that went to Stanford and Harvard, but you chose to go to Howard. No, elite schools like Stanford, but you chose to go to Howard. Now, you know, I was ready to hang this thing up.
Right.
I was literally, and I was about to go off, which would not have been cool, because I'm trying to get elected.
Yeah, but you went to Howard.
Right, but they went to these elite schools, and you went to, and I said, well, you do know that Howard University is the Mecca. Like,
Exactly.
Just put that, let's put that in its place.
She literally nods and says yes, as he says, you were a part of the civil rights movement. And like she was trying to sell that she was a part of this effort to desegregate. And then we fact checked that, and the lie detector determined that was a lie, that was untrue. That obviously, nope, not at all. Nope. Only thing was that San Francisco, which had already had their desegregation for years, this was desegregated. They just realized that like too many black kids were going to one school versus another. Schools, again, were not segregated. They just realized that based on where people lived, because of your bus districting, that a lot of black kids were going to one school, a lot of white kids were going to one school, and they wanted to fix that by changing the bus route. So, if you grew up like in the 90s, like me, sometimes you had to go very far to go to school, right? And you're like, why do I have to pass the closer school to go to the school that's...
Yeah, that's like me. Same thing.
very far. That's because they were like, well, we want to kind of even out white versus black because the neighborhoods are kind of dictating which school people go to. That's all. That's it. So when they first started doing that, now she has written into her legacy that she was a part of desegregation, even though there was absolutely no segregation. So that's just, that is just really incredible. Now she's Rosa Parks, ladies and gentlemen. And it gets worse. I think, honestly, this might be the worst, is when she's introduced as the first black female VP at the 113th NAACP National Convention. Take a listen.
Not only are we meeting as a group for the first time since the coronavirus pandemic turned our lives upside down, but we are joined by the first black female vice president of the United States of America. We have waited far too long to have a black woman representing us in the White House. It is imperative that we support her and uplift her. All of the progress she has made and continues to make for our community, we must support her. Nothing.
Yo, Candace Owens is hilarious, bro.
Black female vice president of the United States of America. We have waited far too long to have a black woman representing us in the White House. It is imperative that we support her and uplift her. All of the progress she has made and continues to make for our community, we must support her. Nothing, I repeat, nothing is more unstoppable than a black woman in action.
Oh, it is so good to be here with all my sisters and brothers. Let me just thank Vice Chair Boykinstown for that incredible introduction.
Incredible introduction. She loved it. She ate it up. Yes, first black, here I am, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. It's not funny. I'm deeply upset about this. So let's fast forward to yesterday, okay? Because this is just incredible. She's now freaking out when somebody, this journalist realizes, hey, you're no longer leaning into the historic nature of your campaign. Obviously, what this journalist meant was, weren't we all doing the, like, you're the first black person running, and you are just going to watch Kamala filibuster this, and suddenly she don't want to talk about wonderful introductions. Take a listen to her being interviewed by Hallie Jackson for NBC News.
You've been reluctant to lean into, to talk about the historic nature of your candidacy on the campaign
Let's get this channel to 100,000 subscribers, y'all. I see there's a lot of people in here.
trail. Why is that? Well, I'm clearly a woman. I don't need to point that out to anyone. The point that most people really care about is, can you do the job? And do you have a plan to actually focus on?
We got 104,000 views on this. Y'all can subscribe. Stop playing with me.
Them. I hear you on that. That is why I spend the majority of my time listening and then addressing the concerns, the challenges, the dreams, the ambitions, and the aspirations of the American people. They deserve to have a president who's focused on them, as opposed to a Donald Trump who's constantly focused on himself. I think that's part of why people are exhausted with Donald Trump and his approach, because it's all about himself and his personal grievances, and not about the American people, not about how are you going to help families, how are you going to help small businesses, how are you going to strengthen our economy. These are the things I'm focused on. I'm focused on investing in the new industries on which America should lead and be a global
We can come
leader.
out of this. I mean, you can just see the filibuster is strong. And credit to that woman, Hallie from NBC. She's a real one, because you know what she was trying to ask. She's like, no, I hear you, but and Kamala's like, no, I'm clearly a woman. Yeah, that wasn't the filibuster this, and suddenly she don't want to talk about wonderful introductions. Take a listen to her being interviewed by Hallie Jackson for
if Candace Owens was running, I'd vote for her over Kamala.
NBC News.
You've been reluctant to lean into, to talk about the historic nature of your candidacy on the campaign trail. Why is that? Well, I'm clearly a woman. I don't need to point that out to anyone. The point that most people really care about is, can you do the job? And do you have a plan to actually focus on them? I hear you on that. That is why I spend the majority of my time listening and then addressing the concerns, the challenges, the dreams, the ambitions, and the aspirations of the American people. They deserve to have a president who's focused on them, as opposed to a Donald Trump who's constantly focused on himself. I think that's part of why people are exhausted with Donald Trump and his approach, because it's all about himself and his personal grievances, and not about the American people, not about how are you going to help families, how are you going to help small businesses, how are you going to strengthen our economy. These are the things I'm focused on. I'm focused on investing in the new industries on which America should lead and be a global
We can come
leader.
out of this. I mean, you can just see the filibuster is strong. And credit to that woman, Hallie from NBC. She's a real one, because you know what she was trying to ask. She's like, no, I hear you. But and Kamala's like, I'm clearly a woman. Yeah, that wasn't the historic nature of their campaign. Hillary Clinton already ran twice. The historic nature, which if you had let Hallie finish her statement and you weren't going to let her because you're no dummy and you know people are onto you now, the historic nature that you seem now somewhat reluctant to speak about is your blackness. You lean into that a lot.
I wonder why she's like so reluctant. Because Candace Owens putting that pressure on her.
The brothers, the sisters, were out here waiting for you to speak about your blackness. She doesn't want to do it anymore, guys, because we've been telling you the truth. She's the worst kind of racist. I'm telling you, you can't just be out here plagiarizing grandmas. You can't just be out here plagiarizing agricultural laborers who likely worked on the farms that your family have owned for generations, because we now know that you were a direct descendant of slave owners. So sitting here talking about what black people are struggling with due to historic injustice, you are really going to have to pipe down, ma'am. You have to pipe down right now. Speaking of race baiting, Barry.
Well, I am. Shout out to Candace Owens.
Well, I am certainly not perfect. So let's start there. And I think that perhaps a weakness, some would say, but I actually think it's a strength, is I really do value having a team of very smart people around me who bring to my decision-making process.
So, Joe Biden? You got him around you. Let me stop.
Different perspectives. My team will tell you, I am constantly saying, let's kick the tire on that. Let's kick the tires on it. Because, listen,
Vice President Kamala Harris participates in CNN Town Hall, answer questions about what her weaknesses are. I don't care about that. Her weaknesses, she got a lot of them.
I want you to meet Jackson Weiss. He's a student at Drexel University from Flourtown, Pennsylvania. Registered Republican. Says he's leaning toward voting for you, but has yet to make a final decision. Jackson.
Thank you, Anderson.
Hey, Jackson.
Thank you for taking the time to be here, too, Vice President Harris.
Thank you.
Regarding the rapid increase in the migrant population, how will you ensure that every immigrant is integrated into American society safely? What benefits and subsidies will you provide them with? And how long will these benefits and subsidies last for an individual? Most importantly, will the American citizens' taxes pay for these benefits and subsidies? And if so, how much money will be allocated?
Well, thank you, Jackson. Let's start with this. America's immigration system is broken and it needs to be fixed. And it's been.
You broke it. You guys broke it. That's why it's broken. You got in the office and you undid Trump's policies. You guys broke it. And it needs to be fixed. So you guys want to break something and then run on a problem and then try to fix it later when you already broke it?
Been broken for a long time. And part of what we need to do is always prioritize what we need to do to strengthen our border. I will tell you, I'm the only person in this race among the two choices that voters have. I've personally prosecuted.
Somebody said her shoulder pads are just awful. But like back in what was it, y'all, like, was it the 80s or the 70s they used to do shoulder pads? Like the early 90s? So that's just, the shoulder pads are old school.
To transnational criminal organizations.
No, she did not just do that again.
Person in this race among the two choices that voters have, I've personally prosecuted transnational criminal organizations.
Again, she going to the sound bites. Answer this dude's question.
In the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings, I have spent a significant part of my career making sure that our border is secure and that we do not allow criminals in and we don't allow that kind of trafficking to happen and come into our country.
She's literally lying to him right now. They literally just did that. I'm like, how do they not see this?
And as my opponent has proven himself, he would prefer to run on the problem instead of fix the problem. You may know there were some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress working with others that came up with a border security bill that would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border.
Yeah, Tough Girl says she lost. She's a pathological liar. She is lying.
Those border agents are overwhelmed. They need the support. They need the backup. It would have allowed us to have more resources to stem the flow of fentanyl. I don't need to tell this state and people around the country what is happening in terms of the scourge of fentanyl and how it
You're bringing in more of it in America. Wait, that's what she doing. Her and Biden. And I have to keep saying this. She sat down with 60 Minutes and they told her the number of people coming over the border have quadrupled within the last couple of years with that fentanyl. And then she said, oh, we're working to like close the border. So we've ended up cutting fentanyl coming in by half. So if it's quadrupled and you cut it by half, it's still more than what it was prior. Shout out to Eric with the $10 donation. Yeah, 1,500 more border security agents along with another 85 million to Ukraine. Exactly. Doug life. We not she thinks she talking to some third graders, bro. And we don't know what's going on. She has lost grip on reality. The border, hey, Eric, with the $10 donation, the Border Patrol don't even want to support her. Like, they're standing behind Trump.
literally killing Americans. It would have put resources into stemming the flow. It would have given more resources to prosecute, to investigate and prosecute transnational criminal organizations. It would have done a lot of good. Donald Trump got wind of the bill and told them, don't put it forward. He killed the bill because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. We have to have a secure border, and we have to have a comprehensive pathway for citizenship. And that includes requiring people, hardworking people, to earn citizenship and do it in a comprehensive, humane, and orderly manner.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, you talk about the bill that Donald Trump quashed.
What is humane, orderly manner? Like, what is you saying, lady?
Oh, it's in 2024. You talk about the bill he tried to get passed in 2021. That wasn't able to get passed. 2022, 2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if
is
it was
low.
that easy with that executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term...
Why did you undo the executive orders, lady? Why did y'all do that? Like, that's what you need to say. Why did you do that? Now you created a big mess that Trump didn't already, fixed. Well, you shouldn't have messed with it in the beginning. And now you got... I'm not afraid to share my likes. Border Patrol officers, 16,000 Border Patrol officers endorse Trump for president.
America, I have a message for you. If we allow Borders R. Harris to win this election, every city, every community in this great country is going to go to hell.
This is a Border Patrol officer. $16,000 Border Patrol officers endorse Trump for president. Y'all gotta understand, they can be afraid of being defunded. But they say, forget it, like we talking thug life. This is a problem. And if y'all don't do something to fix it, oh, y'all gonna be in trouble. Your neighborhoods are in trouble. And we seen earlier in the video, the lady from, you know what I'm saying, Chicago trying to turn Chicago red because they're coming in there. And they have to deal with it.
fix to the problem.
I'm voting for the felon, thug life. Shout out to Eric with the $10 donation. These Democrats are the lottery scratch people. They spent $500 on scratch tickets. They get one $50 winner and act like they up. You can't let in a million and cut it in half. You're still 500,000 behind. Like, they don't, the math ain't adding. Like, when she sat down that 60-minute interview and he said that to her, like, I'm like, yo, she may not even know what's going on. But it's her administration. She should know what's going on. This is more of the same. Politics as usual. Old school politics, sound bites, answering every question. This is old school politics. Trump is more radical. He is a danger to the establishment. Why you think they trying to take him up out of here? Assassination attempts. Like, why do you think that is? He's a threat to the New World Order. He is. He is for America. These people are for everybody else. That's why they're willing to take your tax money and just give it to Ukraine. And not care.
And both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action. Congress has the authority and the purse. I hate to use DC terms, but literally they write the checks. Part of the issue is in order to really fix the problem at the border. I was just at the border recently talking.
It says the most recent supplemental appropriation was signed into law on April 24, 2024, provided nearly $61 billion to address the conflict in Ukraine. I'm not just saying it. Let me show y'all this. This is them. And then remember we watched the video, she gave $1.5 billion in additional aid. Let's see if I can show y'all this. Look at this. How much has the United States spent on the war in Ukraine? Since April, $61 billion. They could have rebuilt everybody's house in North Carolina. This is crazy, bro.
Talking with border agents. You know what they talk about? Yes, they are overwhelmed. They're working around the clock. And the other thing that they talk to me about, we need more judges down there to deal with asylum claims. We need more personnel.
Somebody said Kamala is fine. Like, bro, she got shoulder pads on. I mean, like, she's 60 years old. She takes care of herself for a 60-year-old woman. I'm not like doing anything. I just don't like her as president. I don't think she's qualified. I don't think she's presidential.
Down there to deal with processing. But Anderson, and that's where Congress kicks in terms of dedicating the resources to actually fixing the problem. We have dealt with it such that, to your point, we now, as of today, as of our visit, have lower undocumented immigrants and illegal immigration than Trump when he left office.
That's true.
But we need a permanent solution, and that requires bipartisan work.
Do you wish you'd done those executive orders in 2022, 2023?
I think we did the right thing, but the best thing that can happen for the American people is that we have bipartisan work happening, and I pledge to you that I will work across the aisle to fix this long-standing problem. I think the American people are demanding it.
Yeah.
On both.
Shout out to Wesley Clark with the $9.99. Spent 2 years on the street. Fentanyl took off in Salt Lake City, or Salt Lake, like a forest fire. 2 years sober. Shout out to you, Piper Boy, and all the people lost to drug overdoses. I respect the integrity you show. Hey, I appreciate you, bro. Like, shout out to that because you sponsoring this. Mulaney with the $1.99. Shout out to you.
Both sides of the aisle. And
it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that means a lot to me because, you know, I could sit here and do entertainment, you know, and make a bunch of money. But like, I think this is important, you know, and shout out to you for subscribing. Everybody subscribing, hitting the like button. I see some people hitting the heart, so I appreciate y'all.
Time we actually put the partisan approach to this aside, we know what can work.
Well, let's talk about this compromise bill that you want to pass if you're elected. You said that's going to be a priority. It includes $650 million in funding for the border wall. That's something Republicans wanted. That was part of the compromise. Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw was about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would
shout out to Dre
$650
with the
million
donation
to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure.
Now she needs a bipartisan bill. And they didn't need this before. They literally didn't need this before. They could have left the border alone, but they don't want to do that. They want to open up the border so that these people could go and vote for them. Because she doesn't care. Like, what is this lady, like 60 years old? So she doesn't care what this country is going to look like 40 years from now. She's going to be rich, having millions of dollars, can be able to live in whatever country she wants. She don't care. Obama's worth $70 million. You think Obama cares? He can go anywhere he wants. Their border policies are going to affect us. You already see it in a lot of areas. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. You go on Nolensville Road, it's all like, it looked like Mexico. You go to parts of Murfreesboro Road, it looks like Mexico. People don't even speak English. That's these people doing that.
For that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it.
Let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. How come y'all didn't do that in 4 years? You undid a fixed policy. And now let's just fix it. Let's just fix it. Why didn't Biden fix it after he broke it? Let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it.
Perspective on this. Let's just fix the problem.
Shout out to Jacqueline.
You're doing
like, this is crazy. Like, she's literally like, she act like we don't know. They broke the border.
This thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on this? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
Then that was a good idea. The $650 million earmark to help extend the wall. Like, when we're taught when we're in school, earmark is bad. No, it's not. Not all earmarks are bad. $650 million to help, like, strengthen the border is not a bad thing. I like that he getting on her about this.
Bill, it does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I'm not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything.
What are you talking about? Shout out to Dre with the donation. What you talking about? The border was more secure. What you mean he didn't do nothing? Hit the like button, Thug Life. She has lost grip on reality. Shout out to you, like Anderson Cooper. I don't be agreeing with you 99% of the time, but you had to press her on that. Like, she crazy. With this one,
I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
She does not want to build the wall. He asked her a direct question. Look what she said.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
She don't want these people coming over here thinking that she's gonna like give them any resistance. That's what that's about. And then Tristan Jones with the $5 donation. Look up how many Mexican politicians died during their last election. I believe over 30. It's wild. The cartels are out of control. Look, hey, I don't want to say nothing wrong about the cartel. Shout out to cartels, thug life. I ain't saying nothing bad about y'all. Like I hear what you saying. I ain't saying nothing about them, no. When y'all saying thug life, thank you for the donation. Yo, they get
hi, Mr. Mayor. I wondered
the way they get
if I could ask
down.
you about
I
any-
ain't saying nothing bad about them.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I wondered if I could ask you about any communications you've been having with the Trump campaign about this rally or otherwise, and if you believe, as others have said, that the former president is a fascist.
You know, I have been.
Okay, it says Trump is not fascist. Eric Adams, yeah, because my face on and Marcus Chapman, my face is on this. I'm not saying nothing bad about them at all. I went to the dark web before I seen like, no, I'm not. Shout out to them. It said that. It said Trump is not fascist. Eric Adams calls fake news on Kamala Harris. Charlemagne scaring voters.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I wondered if I could ask you about any communications you've been having with the Trump campaign about this rally or otherwise, and if you believe, as others have said, that the former president is a fascist.
You know, I have been had those terms hurled at me by some political leaders in the city, using terms like Hitler and fascist. My answer is no. I know what Hitler has done, and I know what a fascist regime looks like. I think, as I've called over and over again, that the level of conversation, I think we could all dial down the temperature. And I've heard people say that the former president should not be able to have a rally in Madison Square Garden. I strongly disagree. This is America. This is New York.
Oh, this is why they want to get him out of office. Because he's not going against Trump like the rest of them. Kingdom said, don't blame you, bro. But, like, no, I ain't saying nothing bad about them, bro. Like, my face is out here, bro. Like, I ain't saying nothing bad about them. And to clarify, I ain't saying nothing bad about y'all.
And I think it's important that we allow individuals to exercise their right to...
yeah, exactly. Lakeisha Gatewood said they don't have nothing to do with this, so people need to leave them out of it. I ain't saying nothing bad about them.
Message clear to New Yorkers, and our job as a city and as a police department is to make sure they can do that in a peaceful way. I think that we must be extremely cautious. The heat we turn up today, pre-election, is going to have to be the heat we're going to have to govern in. And I think we need to show a level of respectable communication. And so when people called me fascist and other terminologies, I didn't like it. And I don't think it's fitting to anyone to state that the former president is equal to being Hitler. I just think that this is a city where we have the largest Jewish population. Anti-Semitism is on the rise nationally. We need to do everything we can to push back on that level of anti-Semitic tone. And
I like that. I like that he said it. Shout out to you, Eric Adams, for that, bro.
Anti-Semitic issues that we're facing in the city. Let's have a safe, fair, democratic process and show the globe how we're able to do it correctly.
And I agree with him 100%. They want nothing more than to try to label president.
A lot of and another thing, like, I mean, not to just keep talking about this, like, YouTubers, y'all got to be careful. Like, people be watching y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so certain type of people, y'all be careful about how y'all talking about them. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, you know, this video got like 120,000 views. Like, it's a lot of people that watch that might know people that know people. So you got to be careful.
President Trump, and soon to be the new president of the United States of America, 45-47, they want nothing more than to get anybody that they can, especially over in New York, to then label him a certain way and say that he's fascist. A lot of people don't even know what the term of the word is, and they just started using it. I've seen Charlemagne say it, and he says it on every stop and every interview, and he's on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris.
Isn't that crazy? Y'all don't think that's crazy? Charlemagne, the God, is on a campaign trail for Kamala Harris. That is insane. And arguing with Anderson Cooper on CNN. Charlemagne's worth like $5 million.
And they use his word, and I've seen Kamala Harris actually say this and use his word and try to make it out to be like he's this dictator. When first, we know what his presidency was like in 2016 through 2020. We know that he left the White House peacefully when he handed the keys over to Biden. And the entire time, and let me tell you how fearful the Democratic Party was. The entire time, for the last 3.5 years since they've gotten in office, they've been chasing Trump the entire time. They had already planned, and this is my personal opinion based off of the evidence and what I've been.
I'm not on a campaign trail. I'm not doing a bunch of different interviews and doing all of that. I'm just on my channel, like, displaying my opinion. That's not a campaign trail.
Observing over the last 3.5 years. They had already planned and had been observing Trump and making sure, or trying to ensure, which they failed on all fronts, that he would never, ever be able to become president ever again, because they knew that their movement was going to fail. And so the first thing that they had to do was they had to try to kill his reputation, which they're still trying to do today, all the way up until Election Day. And so they tried to kill his reputation by first throwing a bunch of charges on him in New York and then throwing a bunch of charges on him down in Georgia. And Letitia James over in New York, who they're largely rumoring to at some point trying to succeed Mayor Adams, because we know that Eric Adams is now facing charges because it would seem as though he's not going along to get along anymore. And the minute that he started...
Isn't that scary? Like, if you're a politician and you thinking like, yo, all right, I'm with the Democratic Party, thug life, whatever. The second you don't go along with the program, they trying to remove you. They got indictments on you like that. It's like, what? Bro, I thought it was free thought. Ain't no free thought. Like, you roll with the program or you get...
to revolt against the migrant crisis that had been being pushed inside of the United States of America, in which they flooded the entire United States with millions, tens of millions of migrants. That's when you started to see him have problems. And then after that, you have Letitia James, who, again, put all of these crazy charges, which the appeals court...
Elizabeth Turner, shout out to you, 100,000. Hey, we almost to 100,000. Like, shout out to Anton Daniels. He got 451,000. Like, I got 97,000. I don't know why y'all don't want me to have 100,000. Can I at least get 100,000? Wait, come on, y'all.
Court is basically criticizing the prosecutors right now, and they're saying, this is crazy. The banks didn't lose any money. Trump and them didn't lose any money. Nobody was offended. Why did y'all even bring these charges in first? Do y'all know what they're appealing and what's working out in this case?
Yeah, exactly. Morris Price said, get down or lay down.
Over in New York, do you even know what the charges were? Don't worry, I'll tell you. They're saying that he inflated the value of his companies to take out more equity and more loans with the banks.
What's up, Big
And
Wave?
then it was unjustified.
Joseph Turner with the 199. Check your text messages. I just voted. On my Twitter messages, you just voted? All right.
Justifiably enriching himself by being able to invest more in the companies itself, by being able to take more money out of the banks. The bank said, we don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Trump paid us all of our money with interest, and he's a great businessman. So the banks never had a complaint. Nobody ever had a complaint except for the state of New York, which we know that New York has traditionally been blue. Trump did just recently sell out the garden, though.
I don't see it.
And then down in Fulton County, where he has these 91 pending charges, we all know that Nathan Wade was recently questioned and he was paid a...
Yeah, Nathan Wade, the Fonnie Willis situation. Like, she was dating Nathan Wade and she was using, like, funds and giving it to Nathan Wade. And Nathan Wade was taking her on all kind of different vacations. Like, the Democratic... And then Fonnie Willis is like trying to go after Trump and going after Young Thug. And you see the prosecution that she has going after Young Thug. Like, they don't even know what they're doing. The judge is getting frustrated with the prosecution. Like, Fonnie Willis, like, why isn't anything happen to her, like, legally? Bringing up all these trumped up fake charges on people.
Consultant's fee of $250 per hour, his consultant's fee, in order to go and meet at the White House, but he don't remember what the meeting was. With the Department of Justice too. And then once it came out that Fonnie Willis, which is the Fulton County District Attorney, was having an affair, or he was having an affair with Fonnie Willis, we wound up finding out that if you go and look at on public information, the White House logs of who visited the White House prior to them filing charges against Trump, Fonnie Willis and the mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens, who's good friends with Kamala Harris, actually met, it says on the logs, with the Vice President of the United States of America. And so they threw all of these false charges, and they've been persecuting him this entire time in order to what? Kill his reputation. And it doesn't stop. And that's why they're starting to label him. Then they're saying he's a fascist. He wants to overthrow the government. When, where, why, and how? We have layers and protection. Literally, we have multiple different layers of legislative bodies, the Senate, the Congress, so on and so forth. And you can't even get anything passed without getting Congress on your team and it being
and then we think that she's going to end up like passing like no taxes on overtime, and like she is wow. And then she made up something, right? So she went on Shannon Sharp's she did an interview with Shannon Sharp, and she was saying that Trump wants to make it to where you don't get paid to do overtime. Like, no, like this lady be making up everything. I was listening to her, I'm like, what is you talking about? I see why they got so many dislikes. I think that the likes we read the dislikes and likes earlier. Like the dislikes was terrible in that video.
Bipartisan agreement across both sides of the aisle. But because they have no policy to stand on, because they're trying to take over what it is that you feel instead of standing on economic policy, immigration policy, and the main campaign rhetoric, the two things that they try to push to you is these two things. Bad man Trump, because they talk more about Trump than they talk about themselves.
Big Wave Dave with the $5 donation. Nothing ever happens to liberals. Those stories always vanish, always. Exactly.
And reproductive rights, which is women's ability and right to destroy whatever is inside of them once they get pregnant instead of doing preventative maintenance. And so when we start to pay attention to this, and now, you know, they're asking Eric Adams, because Eric Adams is not a part of the Good Old Boy Network, I believe that Eric Adams has two reasons to do this. Number one, I don't think that he likes Biden. Number two, I actually believe that he aligns more with the Republican Party and Trump because he's seeing what it did to his state, especially when it came to the immigration. Y'all let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. And then last but not least, coming.
Shout out to him, though. Let's give him my likes. Interesting. 18,000 likes, 21,000 dislikes. Interesting.
Kick it with me and that.
What are the main things that you are concerned about that you don't like?
The main thing that I've been concerned about, how can I keep more money in my pocket and how can we stay safe? And when I talk to my listeners...
You concerned about that, but you're supporting Kamala? What?
Every day on the Breakfast Club, that is their main concern. I remember back in February, people were upset at me because I was doing an interview with Fox News Digital. And Joseph, who works at Fox News, he asked me a simple question. He said, this was February. He said, do I think the border is going to be an issue come November? And I said, yes, hell yes.
If your main questions as Charlamagne the God, which we'll get.
But I don't know, like I do want to be real about this, right? The likes and dislikes. I don't know if that's real because like YouTube is kind of like taken away like to where you're able to see the dislikes. So I don't know, like, I mean, I see people posting that like all over Twitter, but could that be photoshopped or are they using like a different program? Because, you know, there's like programs where you can look at, like, I mean, I don't want to say the program like on YouTube, but like TubeBuddy, you know what I'm saying? Like you can kind of see certain things like on like different people's channels, like the tags and stuff they use and stuff like that. But like, I don't know about the likes and dislikes. You know what I mean? I haven't had that program like in a long time. If they can see that.
Get to the border part in a minute. Is how can you keep more money in your pocket and stay safe? That mean that you're talking.
And Brittany said you can see it with an extension.
About being overtaxed, which we know that Democrats overtax, and staying safe is everything that's conservative and aligns with Donald Trump specifically. You're talking about police. Right? You're talking about making sure that there's more of a presence in your neighborhoods, which I'm assuming that he don't live amongst regular people, but
no, he
and then
don't.
You're also
he worth $5 million. He ain't about to live in the hood. And plus, black people don't really like him.
Talking about safety when it comes to overseas.
Remember when they ran, they saw him coming out of the Breakfast Club, they ran up on him. Like, they don't like him. Like, that's why I understand why they got him like speaking for Black America. And then you look at the Jessica Reed case to where like she's alleging like some very like interesting things. You know, he was like trying to give her like illegal like stuff, like when she was underage, all of that, and trying to like, bruh, like Kamala even sitting down with him is insane. But he's a sellout. Like he's willing to, you know what I mean, sell himself out to the party.
Threats, which this is the party of war.
So they like, forget it, whatever.
And immigration into this country and them letting in people that's unvetted. And then last but not least, again, your finances, your resources being overtaxed, and how you can keep more money in your pocket. If those are the two things that you stand on the most, before we even get to whatever it is that he's about to say, then how can you not align with the Republican Party and Donald Trump specifically?
Hey, yo, we gotta come back. I gotta go pick my daughter up from somewhere. It's time. But I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go do this and then come back and we going live again. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody. Give me like maybe a little bit over an hour and then we coming back. Shout out to everybody. All right, but thank y'all for subscribing. We got a lot of subscribers. We got like almost 1,000 subscribers like since we've been live today. I appreciate y'all. But we trying to get to 100,000 subscribers.